The excitement in Hot Springs just feels different this weekend, and it's all because of her. Thorpedo Anna, racing royalty, racing's horse of the year, in just over 24 hours, her 2025 debut, right where it all started last year. As for trainer Kenny McPeak, coming off the best season of his career. Yeah, sure, he's looking forward to Anna's return, but first things first. In a couple hours, McPeak to unleash Miss Hebrides, major player in the Friday feature at Oaklawn. Sun breaking through just in time. Great to have you with us on Fox Sports 2. This is America's Day at the Races, live coverage from Oaklawn Park. The Friday program well underway. Trackside, welcome everyone. I'm Lafitte Pinkai. This is always a significant weekend of racing at Oaklawn. Tomorrow is the Azeri. It's the final local prep for the Apple Blossom, Oaklawn's most prestigious race for older fillies and mares. But now it's completely different. When you're talking about a filly like this, a horse of the year returning, racing for the first time in the new year, now the Azeri taking on a completely different level of excitement altogether. Naturally, we'll have much more on Thorpedo Anna in tomorrow's Azeri throughout the course of the broadcast. First things first, the Friday program and the Friday feature, race number 9, solid second-level allowance affair, fillies and mares, mile and a 16th, aforementioned Miss Hebrides, number 3, 5-2 morning line favorite for trainer Kenny McPeak. As my co-host slides in and joins me on set, champion jockey Richie Migliori. Richie, we have all day and tomorrow to talk about the hype and the excitement in tomorrow's Azeri with the return of Thorpedo Anna. But today's program and today's feature race, what makes this event significant?
Well, you have a Kenny McPeak runner that certainly looks very interesting in here. And, we've got a great card all the way around, though. I mean, every single day here, full fields, competitive racing. But Miss Hebrides was very, very good because she made this huge middle move. This is when she drew off two starts back, going a mile and a furlong. And she just seems to have an affinity for Oaklawn Park. Every single one of her races here have been very good. And look at the way she's drawing away here, Lafitte, with her ears flicking back and forth. And Julian Leperoux riding a lot of Kenny McPeak runners here. Obviously, Brian Hernandez will begin to ride the big filly, Thorpedo Anna. This was super impressive, and she runs this race back. They're all going to be chasing her around here.
There's probably more speed. I like, even though she lost her last race, the fact that she made up Brown Lake. She was far, far back. Watching her pass horses, that should serve her well this afternoon.
Oh, absolutely. And I actually thought last time, a little unusual for Julian Leperoux, maybe pulled the trigger a little early. Now, maybe she was second best on the day anyway, but she made a huge run to lead, opened up, and then got run down.
The Friday feature here at Oaklawn Park, race number 9. We'll have it for you right here on America's Day at the Races, along with the reason we're here. Roll that animation. America's Best Racing's Race of the Week, Grade 2 Azeri, 39th running fillies and mares here. $400,000 purse. Thorpedo Anna drawn inside the rail post, just like the Travers. 2-5 on the morning line. Maggie Wolfendale with us and with the champ at her barn.
Well, with a win in the Kentucky Oaks, nearly beating the boys in the Travers, and capping it all off with a win in the Breeders' Cup Distaff, Thorpedo Anna was crowned Horse of the Year last year, and rightfully so. It was a campaign that made everybody fall in love with her. Now she's back, and well done to Connections for bringing her back for a 4-year-old season. Now, she shipped in here to Oaklawn last night from her fairgrounds base, in which we saw her this morning go out and train, and she looked spectacular getting her legs stretched around this Oaklawn oval. Her trainer Kenny McPeak says she's such an easy horse to train because she never gets out of her feet tub, eating up everything last night, and 2, her energy levels when it comes to training, when it comes to racing, are always on max, of course, except when she's resting up. As all good athletes do, you need to get some of your rest in too, but I think everyone's so excited to see Thorpedo Anna back at the races. And they're following the same recipe that worked for them at the beginning of last year. Train at the fairgrounds, come in here for a win in the fantasy. They're hoping it works for tomorrow's Azeri as well. But I think everyone's just so excited to see Thorpedo Anna, your horse of the year, back at the races.
It's a key point, Richie. Putting aside expectation, what she'll do in the Azeri tomorrow, the fact that she is back for her 4-year-old campaign, like, what does that mean for the sport?
Well, it allows people to kind of latch on to her, become fans. Longevity creates fans. For me as a kid, it was Forgo, coming back year after year after year. And we've got so many good 3-year-olds turning 4, but particularly a filly being Horse of the Year coming back at 4. You know, she's got a lot of value as a broodmare, and I love the sporting gesture from the Connections to bring her back. I'm excited.
The Grizzly Bear. Can't wait to see her tomorrow afternoon. Horse of the Year, Thorpedo Anna, right here on Fox Sports 2 as we welcome in our friends in New York, Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, on set at the Big A. Guys.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's very exciting having a Horse of the Year return for another campaign. And, off since that victory in the Breeders' Cup, Distaff, if you're going to beat her off the bench, maybe it's the time to do it.
I think the biggest question, and one of the great things about having popular and talented fillies and mares is they come back. Because she's not standing at stud. She's not making $20 million. She can only reproduce herself once, and it's hard to reproduce yourself when you're Thorpedo Anna. So it's great to have her back. It's not surprising. Is she going to be as good as she was last year? You always worry a little bit with fillies and mares. If she's better than she was last year, when you think about all the horses that are coming back, Mindframe made his return. Sierra Leone is getting ready to come back. He could be running in the Oakland Park Handicap. In fact, I was just talking to Chad Brown about that exact thing. Fierceness is somewhere out there. We saw Locked looks like he's just as good as anybody out there this weekend. The idea of all those horses and Thorpedo Anna with the potential of them meeting in the Whitney. I mean, you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself, but you're allowed to dream a little bit. And the idea of them coming together for a race like that up in Saratoga, it's really exciting.
Well, tomorrow is going to be exciting as well. We're going to have it for you live. Grade 2 Azeri Thorpedo Anna. She drew the rail for her 4-year-old return. Here's what's ahead, presented by Clayburn Farm. We'll bring you races 5 through 8 here in New York. We're fast here in South Ozone Park for this Aqueduct Kart, 16 minutes away from the 5th, and they're fast in Hot Springs as well. Start of that cross-country pick 5 in the 5th, and we'll bring you that late pick 5 as well that begins in race 6, the majority of it anyway. Allowance feature in the 9th today. You can play it all, including the pick 5, that cross-country pick 5 right there. Now, bets, get that offer, that $200 deposit match, new customer bonus when you punch in match 200 at sign up and bet any track, anywhere, anytime, right there.
I'm just glad Lafitte finally got back from Saudi. I was kind of worried, and I'm glad he's able to get back. And to make meet some friends.
A lot of miles, Lafitte. Well done.
Appreciate it, guys. Great to be back and an exciting weekend of racing here at Oaklawn Park. Post-parade race 4, good maiden affair. Maiden special weight, mile and a 16, 3-year-olds and older. Darrow, pictured Godolphin, homebred by Uncle Mo.
Yes, ran well on debut, ran okay stretching out, now has that race under his belt. Good inside draw.
Bon Temps, 4th in the Smarty Jones. Behind Cold Battle, then Lambo, contender at 5-2.
Has speed sprinting, should be forward, looks outstanding from a physical perspective.
Come to Papa, claim from Gennaro Garcia by Donnie Von Hemel.
Yeah, steps up into a much tougher company, but also returns first-time gelding.
Bayou Blitz, lightly raced 4-year-old gelding.
Lightly raced, could take a step forward. Mike Sidham, a trainer who develops a horse for a career, not specifically for a race.
Can't Stop Willis, needs to develop that knockout punch.
Yeah, and needs to just get a little bit faster. This is a pretty good group of maidens here.
Ambition, 2nd at 2 for Asmussen.
Yeah, Steve very well represented here. Got a mount for both of his sons.
Number 8, La Bombo. Have fun with that, Matt Dinnerman. There's a Lambo and a La Bombo.
Yeah, and draws the outside. Do get Tyler Bacon, a young rider that has impressed me a great deal at this meet. 3rd
in the standings, Tyler Bacon. 4th race on the Friday program, 4 minutes out. Graduation day for one of these maidens. That's next. You're watching America's Day at the Races. Gorgeous shot overhead at Oakland. Just getting started on Fox Sports 2.
A reputation of excellence isn't built overnight. Day by day, year by year, decade after decade. For over 100 years, Clayburn's commitment to quality has led to unrivaled success. Building on the past, building for the future. Clayburn Farm. The tradition continues.
Welcome back. America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2 is always brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Visit nairabets.com. Hot Springs National Park. Richie, one of your off-day hunts, as I understand, yes?
Yeah, there's some beautiful trails up to the tower. You got West Mountain on one side, Tower Mountain on the other. And just at the foot of, the town is at the foot of those hills.
And great stuff. I'll meet here, Richie, as we get set for this fourth race, Oaklawn. You're looking at Darrow. Let's revisit his second start. This was early February. His first route, same level, Darrow and Bayou Blitz, Richie, grinding away but can't catch the Warden.
No, and he was kind of, to me, running in stops and starts in behind horses. Now he ducks to the inside, and he's just coming on gradually. But he had one sprint, one route, and this was a point in the meet where I felt like horses were kind of stalling inside. They were getting there. I won't say the rail or the inside was bad, but they just almost seemed to idle a touch when they would get in there. Now he's had the one sprint, the one two-turn race. He should be primed for his best now.
Yeah, but is that one of those blanket finishes that you want to avoid with the next back runners?
You know, but I do think this is a horse that could take a step forward.
Darrow, currently 2-1 in that Godolphin Blue. We check in with Maggie Trackside.
And guys, why not take a horse that is nearly 4 times the price that was only beaten a neck by Darrow last time out? And that's the horse that you also saw in the replay in number 5, Bayou Blitz, who, in my opinion, now maybe Richie is right, and I'm sure he is, that you wanted to be more outside, but he did lose more ground than anybody in that entire field. And really, when you look at it, these two horses have nearly the same type of form heading in here. It's just that Bayou Blitz is that much of a better price. And, well, Darrow looks fantastic, don't get me wrong. I think Bayou Blitz looks even better. Big, strong horse that's really well muscled in here. I'm going to take him, and hopefully he can sit the right kind of trip because he does have some tactical speed. But I think the front runner is going to be Richie's pick in here. That's number 3, Lambo, who physically, as another son of Uncle Mo, looks as though he can definitely handle the stretch out. He's big, he's scopy, very handsome horse. Now, last time I saw him was in Saratoga of his 2-year-old season, in which he was getting out really badly throughout the running of that race. I did not notice him doing it in that return effort where he got to the lead quite quickly in that 6-furlong sprint. He is equipped with a Houghton bit, so obviously whatever issues he had as a 2-year-old seem to be assuaged as of now. The problem is that he's really high energy. Has he conserved enough energy, Lafitte, to see out this mile and a 16th affair?
About to find out, Richie.
I think it's a very valid question. Maggie makes a case for a horse that shouldn't be as big a price as he is, but Lambo came off that elongated layoff, ran extremely well sprinted. Looking at him physically, I think he'll stretch out effectively, but Maggie's right. He needs to settle enough to get the distance.
Matt Dinnerman standing by. Post-time race 4 live from Oaklawn on Fox Sports 2.
2 round out the field. We're ready to go. And we're off. Good beginning. All 8 runners in a single file line in the first 100 yards. Now they sort themselves out. Lambo coming out of sprint races, routing for the first time. He's keen to go on with Bon Temps, who's offensive-minded, holds the inside spot. These two hook up, and they put 2.5 lengths on Darrow off the pace in third with Bayou Blitz. Can't Stop Willis is next with Come to Papa, and the 2 racing at the back together, Ambition and Labambo the Gray. Approaching the backstretch run, Bon Temps on the lead, aggressive here, 3/4 of a length, now a half length in front, as Lambo is a bit keen here on the outside of this pace setter, and these two set a good early pace down the backstretch. They've pulled 4 clear, now 3. Darrow in the 3rd position with Bayou Blitz and Can't Stop Willis, who joins them. Come to Papa inside of that trio as the top pair really slow the tempo down here in the second quarter mile. They went 22-4 for the first quarter. The half was running 47 seconds flat. Coming to the back, Ambition, Labambo. They're still trailing together. They're 5 from the top as they go into the far turn. 2 by 4 by 2 as they go into that turn. Bontemps got that breather on the back stretch after setting the fast pace in the early stages of the race. Still in front a half length here. Labambo right there as they round the turn. Come to Papa's dropping back. He's done. Can't Stop Willis in third, sent along 3 deep. Bayou Blitz being asked for more. Darrow is shaken up on the fence, and the Godolphin Blue at the top of the lane where Bontemps comes off the turn with Lambeau still side by side. Darrow to the inside, trying to find racing room and finds the seam on the rail. The rail's open if he's good enough. Darrow on the inside there. It's pretty tight, but Darrow's punching forward. Lambeau is taking a short lead from Bontemps, who weakens. Darrow's right there battling for the win. He's now got the head in front, and Labambo coming from the back of the field. Here comes Labambo. Darrow, Labambo, photo finish. Very tight. Darrow and Labambo on the line together with Lambeau third and Ambition fourth. Tight at the line.
A thriller in the fourth at Oaklawn. Richie, I don't know. Darrow inside, Labambo on the outside.
But Darrow got the dream trip, right? He got to save all the ground from that inside post. He came up the inside. He hit the front, and then here comes Labambo on the far outside with Tyler Bacon, and it's going to be heads up and down. I think it was the inside, but that is way
so
too close to call.
Darrow, brave run, down on the inside, just like he was in his most recent, and towards the outside, the gray lengthening his stride. Labambo, relentless in the stretch. I don't know. The oohs and ahs from the crowd.
Well, they
here
just
on track at
put
Oaklawn,
up
watching
the one
replays.
as the winner. Just now went up on the board.
2-1 it is. Darrow holds on by a flared nostril to graduate in his third career start. Godolphin, homebred for Brad Cox. Christian Torres, leading rider. Brave run for Labambo, coming up just short. Pretty quick reveal on the photo, given how close it looked. Maybe I'm nuts.
No, I thought that was really, really tight, and I was with you. I said that could be a dead heat. I thought the inside might have got the best of that little bob at the wire. A very game effort from Lambeau, who had to put away Bontemps. He hung in there gamely. Here comes Tyler Bacon with the last run with Labambo. So we got Bontemps, Lambeau, Labambo. It's like another language over here.
1-8-3-7 here. Greg, time for the late pick 4 there.
Don't see that often. A verdict not going Darrow's way.
Ooh, it did go his way, didn't it?
4 minutes away from the fifth. Celestial Glaze.
Celestial Glaze is part of an entry where he is the lesser half. This one comes off the claim for Wayne Potts.
Cold as hell. Hunch play for here.
Big scratch with the 6 coming out. Makes this horse the lone speed. I think he's an overlay at 4-1.
Here is MB's Munning at 9-1.
You have to kind of respect his consistency of his speed figures. The problem is they're probably consistently slow.
Gets the rail, by the way. Yeah, and it did go Darrow's way. 1-8-3-7, by the way. Here's the 4. Hatch, Eduardo Jones trains.
It just feels like his form is declining.
8-5, but not your favorite. Brad Cox first off the claim, Bramito.
I picked him and stayed with it after the scratches, but the scratches took some of the speed out. But I do think this is a horse that's taking a needed drop after facing much better in his recent 4 starts.
Big effort in a win last start. C's get degrees.
If he runs his last race, he's probably a massive overlay at even money. We'll see what happens. He figures to be stalking the speed of the 1A. He's probably going to be tactically well-placed, and he's quite simply the horse to beat. I'm surprised that the horse I like, Bramito, is as close to him in odds. I'm staying with Bramito, but at these odds, I'm not sure that C's get degrees isn't a better bet.
Late pick 4 protection plan. How about this? Bet at least $10 on the late pick 4. Hit 3 of the 4 legs, and you get $10 back with that late pick 4 protection plan. You got to opt in at NowRebets.com. Little insurance. As we take a look here at C's Get Degrees, this barn finally lost a race.
Yeah, it's a strange situation. I've been around a long time, and I don't recall seeing a guy. He was an owner, and we had a nice interview with him and Maggie, I want to say, not long ago. And he was talking about taking a shot and having some fun training, and we wish him the best of luck. But he's had a few horses that he's taken over that have dramatically improved. It's an unusual circumstance. And the bottom line is, not only did he run one of the better figures he's run in a long time, but he did it closing, and he's usually a speed horse. Well, now with the scratches and his outside post, he should be in a very good position stalking. And if he runs this kind of number, he's going to be very tough to beat in this race.
Jumped up to, he'd run a number like that before, but he had tailed off a little bit, and that was the fastest race he'd run in some time. First off the claim for Steven Schauer. So there he is, 6-5 Romero Mirage rides.
Yeah, I mean, he's the horse to beat. He's the right favorite, 6-5. I'm not sure he shouldn't be a shorter price, like I said.
Back to, here's Bramido. It makes a nice appearance. Moving to the Brad Cox barn. Brad Cox claiming off of Linda Rice.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Claims for 40, runs for 32. The Cox barn has been on fire. Comes out of a race, was an absolute merry-go-round race where the speeds literally ran 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 the whole way around. And he's running against El Grande O and Exit Full Moon Madness, who just won a Grade 3, and Locked, who just won a Grade 1. He is taking a needed class relief and hopefully a much fairer racetrack.
Well, let's bring in Paul LaDuca for the first time this afternoon. Paulie, good to see you. And, yeah, certainly Bramido has been keeping some very tough company lines.
Yeah, Andy mentioned it. When you mention a horse like Locked, obviously, who's obviously went on to do better things. Now, this horse was in for $40,000 last time out in the claim, and I can understand where Andy's going here because when you look at this field, I do think the 1A is the horse to catch, and that's going to be my selection. Cold as Hell. I got to see this horse at Oaklawn Park. He's the kind of horse that will get brave on the front end. I think for Bramido, who is a tall drink of water, he looks beautiful on the racetrack. He's going to need the 7-horse Seas Gets Degrees to maybe put some pressure on the 1A or maybe get stung by the 1A a little bit and maybe make the 7 have to earn it. And then that will bring Bramido into the race. I can tell why he sometimes gets left in the gate because he's such a big horse. But again, guys, I'm going to go with Cold as Hell. I think that's the horse to catch, like Andy said, with the big scratches.
All right, Paulie, thank you. There is the 1A.
I also find it surprising these horses are the same price. Didn't you think the 7? I mean, the 7's a much bigger favorite in doubles.
I mean, if he can repeat that last start, he's going to be.
If he runs his last race, literally feels like he's a 2 to 5 shot or less in this race. Will he run it though? And that's really the question.
But this trainer, this new face, he's been getting his horses to back him up, hasn't he?
I'm not going to argue with that at all. I think he's supposed to be favored. I took the 5 because he'd be a better price. The entries also take a lot of money, and the entry should take money here because the 1A is dangerous. The problem the 1A has, though, and I think Paulie hinted at it, and how much pressure does the 7 put on him? The 1A can sort of only win this race if the 7 doesn't run well. Whereas the 5 could still beat him if the 7 runs a decent race, just not as well as last time.
He's made a great appearance physically on the track, too. There's Bramido. So Brad Cox will taste your own medicine, claiming off of Linda Rice. Usually it's the other way around.
Well, the way Brad's horse has been running here, I won't be surprised when he wins.
Chris Griffin, the call. Here's the 5th and the start of the pick 4.
And they're off. Seas Get Degrees right out to the front, has the early speed, and Cold as Hell is going to go right with this front runner. And now Cold as Hell is going to challenge and put ahead in front, as back to second will be Seas Get Degrees. Hatch is just off of this battling duo, is 2.5, almost 3 there, sitting in third. At the rail moving forward is MB's Money. To the outside of that rival in 5th, that's Bramido, and the trailer, Celestial Glaze, 22.53 for the opening quarter mile, but it was pressured. It's Cold as Hell, trying to shake loose here from Seas Get Degrees, who's stalking right now, starts to move forward. Bramido catches the eye, was in 5th, is moving up on the outside, has now moved to a challenging 3rd, is right there with MB's Money. Now here comes the run from Bramido, is alone in 3rd as they approach a quarter mile left to go. Cold as Hell just keeps going. It's Cold as Hell who has shrugged off the challenge of Seas Get Degrees. Bramido is trying to keep that sustained rally going as these two continue to chase the leader. Cold as Hell is still there. Bramido is now catching up with every single stride, and here comes Manny Franco on Bramido, who's now put a neck in front. Bramido's kicking away. Bramido, there's your winner. Bramido wins it tight here for second. Seas Get Degrees was rallying on to the outside of Cold as Hell, and MB's Money in 1 minute 11 and 4.
Bramido, he ran to his looks here. Brad Cox first off the claim. Manny Franco with a win.
And interestingly enough, Paul was really right in what he said. And I think he liked the winner as I did, and his point was he thought the 7 could potentially soften up the 1A, and that's exactly what he did. I don't think that C's Get Degrees ran anywhere close to as well as he ran last time out, but Bermudo was there and able to pick up the 1A, who I think ran extremely well. It might have gotten nipped for second. C's Get Degrees did not run his race back, but this horse, he was ready off the claim, and 2-1 on him. Nice performance by him. A little bit of class relief. What do you think? Ooh. I think the 7 might have, if you had a 5-1, that was a painful beat if you had a 5-1.
Nasty at the wire. Yes, C's Get Degrees. One more look at it right here. Just getting by this 1A. Cold as hell to the inside there late. Ooh.
Yeah.
5-7, 1A2. Bermudo. First off the claim win. Brad Cox having, as you said, just an exceptional meet here at Aqueduct.
He's had an odd meet in that his horses were like running like a house on fire, and then there was like a month period where they really cooled down. But lately they've really picked it up. His horses have been running big numbers and running well, and Bermudo's one where they immediately paid dividends. I imagine he got claimed on the drop down.
Yeah, I would think. Was in for $32,000. We'll try and find that out for you when we come back. We're going to take a timeout. Derby Road goes through Tampa Bay on Saturday, and 2-time Grade 1 winner, including the hopeful and the Champagne Chancellor McPatrick, returns 3-year-old debut for trainer Chad Brown coming up tomorrow. We'll have a preview when we come back.
And they're off at the Naira Benz Haskell.
In the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga.
Dornock setting up moderate pace, 3/4 of a length ahead.
As the field turns for home.
They're at it again. The 2 Belmont first and second place finishers.
Mind frame on the outside. It's coming after Dornock.
Dornock wins the Haskell.
It will be Dornock to win the Belmont Stake.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
It's Mandaloon. Mandaloon wins.
Back with you on our Friday coverage of America's Day at the Races. It's brought to you by Hill and Dale at Alapa. Underway in a pick 4 with a formful beginning. Bermudo, not your favorite though, does get the win first off the claim for the Brad Cox barn.
Yeah, and was claimed. One race for them and a win. The Sandy Goldfarb Brad Cox team have been extremely tough off the claim here, to say the least.
Yeah, 1, 5, and 7 all claimed in here. The second place finisher, C's Get Degrees, also taken. But Bermudo, one race, a win, and then on to a new barn for Brad Cox.
You know, interestingly enough, I think Linda really kind of figured out that this horse was a closing sprinter. And this was a good claim for 40. I know they lost a little less, but they won the race, made a few dollars because he had really been running against horses in a different category than who he's running against today.
4 for 12 overall now with this victory. $6.10 for the win. Again, 5, 7, 1A, that trifecta for 50 cents, modest. And the early pick 5's not going to make you rich.
No, only pay what it pays.
Race 6, 1 turn mile. It's not winners of 2 lifetime. All for sale for $16,000 in this race coming up. Let Me Drink, blinkers coming off, a little surprisingly opens as the favorite.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to hold up. It looks like the 5 is going to be a pretty strong favorite over the number 3. And for my money, the 5 and 3 are both dropping off the claim after horrible efforts. I just feel like one of them will probably show up, though.
More on that coming up. Big weekend, Derby Trail out in Florida. We're going to have live coverage coming up on Saturday. Tampa Bay Derby, Grade 3, $400,000 purse. And look what's in the near future the rest of this month. Those 100-point races start on March 22nd at the Fairgrounds. Chancellor McPatrick, he is back for his 3-year-old return.
Yeah, you know, I actually talked to Chad Brown shortly before I came in the air. I didn't ask him how the horse was doing. I assume he's doing fine. I thought his performance in the Breeders' Cup, while obviously disappointing, was nowhere near as bad as people may think. And I suggest people watch the replay of the race. And I do think he ran better than Hill Road, who Chad has taken over the training from. A horse came from Europe and ran 3rd. Hill Road saved ground and was just kind of sucking up at the end, where Chancellor McPatrick was wide the whole way, always out of position, a slow-paced race. I do think it's very, very fair to question about whether or not he's more of a 7-furlong to a mile, 1-turn closer type, because he's going to get faster paces in those races, a la a Cody's Wish type horse. Having said that, there should be some pace in this race. And I do think he's the horse to beat. He doesn't have to win this race to make it to the Derby. He's got to run well in here. But I think you're supposed to win this running in the Tampa Bay Derby unless Patch Adams freaks out. And we can talk about him, too. This is a good horse, Greg.
I mean, he wins 2 of the premier 2-year-old races in that campaign before that Breeders' Cup Juvenile. This was one of them, the Champagne. And the way he did it, I mean, certainly the hopeful, just overcame the adversity he overcame to win that race.
Even his
was
maiden
impressive.
race.
Yeah.
No, he's obviously very talented, but are his talents suited to the 1.25 miles of the Derby, or even the 1 1/8 of whichever final prep? And I think Chad has said he'd like to get him the Bluegrass Stakes. That's another question entirely, and I don't have the answer, because it's totally understandable with a closer like him, rates to get faster paces in these 1-turn races, so they suit him more. Having said that, there's a lot of speed in the Tampa Bay Derby. He's the one to beat, but I don't even worry about, I'm not going to bet him. If I bet something there, I'd take Filioso at a big price, because I actually think he's probably the 3rd likeliest winner of this race, but I hope he runs well. You want him to be a big player. You know, you want better, more good horses.
Well, a lot of people thought this horse was going to be a superstar, and the Southwest was going to be his coming out party after that 98 Beyer speed figure, 2nd start to break his maiden for Brad Cox. It didn't pan out.
Well, I mean, just like Chancellor McPatrick, I think you have to ask whether or not this horse has distant limitations, and he's a 7-furlong type, you know, a Woody Stevens, Alan Jurgens type, which isn't a bad thing to beat, or is he really that good? He was bad in this at Oaklawn. Now, he was obviously very impressive breaking his maiden. I think the one thing they learned from this race is he has got to be forward to run his best races. Now, I don't know that he's fast enough to get the lead from the 4-horse for trainer Mark Cassey. Maybe he's faster than Owen on the horse of the rail.
Almighty.
Owen Almighty. I just think they're going to have to send him with Florent Giroux, and you're going to see him be part of the pace, and that's how he can run his best race.
Well, Arad Ortiz Jr. will be back aboard this one. Yeah, he's quick. He's drawn inside, so we know what he's going to do.
Yeah, I think, though, they have to be careful from the rail, because they could get caught in a tough situation with both the 4 and 7 having speed. So I wonder if they're kind of going to leave, but hoping to sort of sit in a good spot in 3rd. I'm sorry, but I don't think I think if he wins this race, I don't want to be too hard on him. I think he's a neat horse. I'm a fan of Brian Lynch's. I'd like to see him do well, and I think maybe in shorter races he could be a force later in the year. I think if he wins this race, it means the race kind of stunk, to be honest with you, because I don't really think he's good enough to be effective going forward into the final Derby preps and the Kentucky Derby as well. So you like him if you think the field is, you think Chancellor McPatrick doesn't really want to go long. I've seen enough of Patch Adams. I don't want him. He makes a certain amount of sense. I just don't see him as fast enough to win this race.
Well, and maybe not, to your point, maybe not the field stinks, but maybe just horses that don't want to go that distance.
A little, yes, right. The field, yes, I agree. It just, it feels like, yes, I'm being a little overly harsh, and I apologize. I'm not trying to, because it's a fun race, and I love this race, and I love the handicapping and looking at it. I just don't feel like he's a true Derby-type contender. And you're asking yourself, are horses near Derby contenders? I think Filioso is the interesting horse. It's not a barn I bet too often, but this horse got a horrifically bad ride in the Kentucky Jockey Club, and I suggest to people they at least look at it before dismissing him. I think he's okay, and one thing about him, you know he can close. He's got no speed.
They're going to put blinkers on, and it's still probably not going to put him anywhere near.
I would hope not.
Early contention.
If you're looking to be forward with him in this race, then, well, you know.
Acacia Clement will be live on site. Big day at Tampa on the road to this year's Kentucky Derby. We look forward to it. We hope you join us.
And an excellent card as well. I mean, really good races. I think we're covering 9 through 12. You've got a big field on the turf in the last, but the Florida Oaks came up a terrific race. I thought that the race before at the Hillsborough, you've got that undefeated South African horse in there that looks really exciting. So it's going to be and the other races early in the day are very good. It's a great day of racing at Tampa.
Skelly
Your
Road.
Horse. You love
Back, different horse. Keith Asmussen will ride for Dad here, coming up, trying to break his maiden career start number 6. He's a 7-5 favorite. Set to make his 4-year-old return when we come back.
Newgate sold for $850,000 as a yearling. His full sister, Denim and Pearls, sold for $2.8 million. His 108 Buyer was the fastest of any into mischief in 2024. He posted a 122 Equibase speed figure and ran a -2 1/4 on the Thoroughbred sheets. In all, he defeated 8 individual Grade 1 winners. New to Three Chimneys.
Picture perfect day for thoroughbred racing. Welcome back. America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Live look. Oaklawn Park, Hot Springs, Arkansas, and you're just in time for the cross-country Pick 5. Get started right here, right now with this 5th race at Oaklawn. Races 5 through 7, 6 and 7 from Aqueduct. Again, all get started in just a few moments with a post-parade. Let's meet the field for this 5th race. Oaklawn, $30,000 maiden claimers, 6 furlongs, sprint 3-year-olds and older. And Skelly Road. Richie Migliore is today the day. Does he graduate today?
It looks like he landed in the right spot. His effort the last time at this level, he was narrowly defeated, and I think today is his day. And the Steve Asmussen barn is really heated up.
Going well. We'll revisit that start in a moment. First, there he is. Levy was dry. Expected more in his latest.
Yeah, he has speed from the inside. The cleverly named Levy was dry by McLean's music.
Mellifluous, like you, Richie, pleasant to listen to. And then Chun Money number 3, like Levy was dry. I thought he was disappointing in that common January 31st race.
Yeah, but these were horses coming off a layoff in a time of the meet when the weather was really wreaking havoc on training.
Good news, Rocket. Outsider, kind of one-geared, then number 5 in World Fair, 7-1. The house horse owned by the boss, Louis Sella.
And he's getting back to the $30,000 level where he was a good third. I think he landed in a good spot. He's a contender.
Skelly Road favored the Asmussens and Heiligbroots.
Yeah, I think today's his day. He just landed in the right spot, and Keith Asmussen is heated up as his dad's barn is heated up.
American Litigator, Kenny McPeak trained first-time starter.
First-time starter out of a mare that has thrown no winners, and this is a New York bred, Lafitte.
Here, debuting at Oaklawn. And then great day for Vino, second of the debuting runners by Breeders' Cup Classic winner Vino Rosso. Nothing But Air is out. My Kid Sid is in, struggled in his first 2 races here.
Yeah, he does drop down in class, but he's going to have to find a race that he ran at Remington to be competitive here at Oaklawn.
That's the field. Start of the cross-country pick 5. $30,000 maiden claimer sprinting 6 furlongs. We touched on Skelly Road. Let's revisit that last start. 2 back. Last fall, Churchill. This is 7/8. Richie, Skelly Road. Look, he's right there. Every opportunity and can't seal the deal.
Yeah, he just couldn't finish it. You see, he's got a little bit of that paddling action, a little bit wide. Looks like he's going to go on right here and break his maiden.
Has to win from there.
And he just kind of flattened out. Now, was it a function of him not staying the 7/8, or did he hit the front and say, oh, my job is over? That's going to be the interesting part here.
Does this surprise you a little, 3-2, or does he feel like that heavy of a favorite to you over this group?
It's always hard for me to take anybody at that short a price in lower level maiden claiming races. I do think he's a deserving favorite, but that's a tough price to take.
Skelly Road, 3-2. This cross-country pick 5. Coming up next here, Oaklawn Park. 5 minutes out. And for trainer Steve Asmussen, who holds just about every record there is to hold at Oaklawn Park, what do you know, Richie working on yet another training title here in Hot Springs, but just 3 clear of Ron Moquette having a big meet.
Ron Moquette is having a fantastic meet. If his horses aren't winning, they're running well. And Steve Asmussen got off to a little bit of a slow start by his standards, but he talked with me a great deal about it, not being able to train horses. And he said he's reluctant to run horses at a lower level if he feels like they're not prepared to run their best. You know, then somebody else gets them, and they go on because they get the benefit of a race. The fact now that they've had steady training, the bad weather seems to have cleared out for the most part, his barn has really taken off.
Yeah, fingers crossed for the Saturday program here at Oaklawn Park. To Maggie trackside.
Thanks, Lafitte. We'll pick up with your favorite. You're just mentioning the Hall of Famer Steve Asmussen, sending out 2 in here, but number 6, Skelly Road, taking all the attention, but I'm kind of scratching my head as to why. It's not like this horse is a significant drop down, and while he has speed, he doesn't necessarily look like the fastest in here, so one would think that he's going to have to kind of come from off of it a bit. He's also coming off of a layoff, as you guys had mentioned too, that training here interrupted often this winter with just tough conditions, with snow, with rain, with freezing temperatures, so on and so forth. But looking at Skelly Road as that layoff is in play here, he's gotten very hot. And usually to me, horses that get a bit washy, coming off layoffs, they usually just need a start, and he just seems a bit nervous as well. So at a very short price, I am definitely willing to look elsewhere, and I'm actually going to go to number 2 in here, Mellifluous. Mellifluous, yes, there we go, as he returns to the dirt as a gelding. And this horse, prior to those 2 starts on the turf last year as a 3-year-old, was running numbers that make him very competitive, I think, in this spot. Going back to his last try, maiden special weight company, albeit at Indiana, Horseshoe, Indiana, he was part of a 4-horse pastel. He was wide the whole way, and I thought he stayed on quite well through the stretch. Now, I don't think he looks like a turf horse, so I don't really understand what that experiment was about. So back to his preferred surface here, looks fit, looks strong, returning to Heather Irion's barn, and I'm just going to land on him because I think his numbers, his races prior to the turf experiment make him a player. Now, number 7, American Litigator, I don't know. All outworks I see are big, handsome horses that, as I was just joking with my husband about, he said, yeah, they're like Uncle Mo, they just didn't quite get his heart that the Uncle Mo's seem to have. So yes, they always kind of lure me in with what they look like physically because they're very big, striking, good-looking horses, but they often don't show it on the racetrack. And as Richie said on the bottom, while the dam, she was pretty precocious. She actually won her first 3 starts, albeit on turf and synthetic. She has not thrown much as of late. He is really well prepared in here. He seems sharp. He also might want a little bit more ground, and we'll see if this is the right surface for him. Lafitte, he also kind of more or less has a turf hoof, so he might be one that, who knows, we'll see up in Saratoga running on the grass.
The New York bred debuting here at Oaklawn. Maggie, American Litigator, live on the board, 20-1 on the morning line, 6-1 as we get closer to post time, Greg, and to kick off this cross-country Pick 5.
Yeah, thank you. We'll return there momentarily. Take a look at this field right now for the 6th. This 6-horse, Let Me Drink, 6-1 morning line, still the 2-1 favorite.
Yeah, she is going to go up in odds. I mean, the argument for her is that she didn't have the best of trips last time, and even though last time was a speed track, that race actually came apart a little bit, and she's not really a speed, so why was she so much forward? And you can look and say, well, she's 1 for 21, but she's only 1 for 7 on the dirt, so it's really mostly turf races, so her dirt form may be a little better than it looks. In order for her to win, though, both the 3 and 5 have to fail to show up, because they're better horses than she is. But they're both coming off abysmal performances. I mean, horrendous performances.
For the 5
where they were
back-to-back,
claimed.
abysmal.
Yeah, so there is a real chance that neither one of these can run anymore. The problem is, do you really want to take a big chance they both can run anymore? I don't, Greg.
Yeah, here's Shahana. So it was just, look, it was tougher company. She was almost 8-1 that day, but she did not run. And she'd been facing, and it was a drop down in class.
It was, and I think there's a real concern. I mean, you know, her prior 2 races are fine in this race, and most of her races are good. But her last race was bad, and then she gets claimed and drops down, so that's a negative. My experience, though, as a horse player is that these horses have a way in these races of showing up, and I'm not saying this is right, and I have no problem with somebody who says, I wouldn't touch either the 3 or 5 of the 10-foot pole, and the 5 will be favored by post time, make no mistake. More often than not, at least one of them shows up. And that's why I didn't want to take a big stand. And I didn't love anybody else, even though I picked the 6th third.
And just this condition, you shouldn't expect consistency. We don't see a lot of it.
Absolutely. Now, they were particularly bad races.
They were.
So I can understand people wanting to bet against them. I'm just not one of them.
Get to the post parade in a bit. Right now, it's back to Hot Springs.
All right, Greg, Skelly Road, pictured 3-2 favorite. Check that. That is World Fair. Don't want to make that mistake again. And the house horse owned by Louis Sella. World Fair. What's the key, Richie, for him to potentially graduate in his 10th career start?
I think he's just got to get a good forward position, get in a good stalking spot. Boy, he's making a really nice impression physically, and he's 10-1. And I think that's way too big a price for him. His one race for the $30,000 level was good. They've tried tougher, drops back down in class, and I love his work tab coming into this. Basically halves in 48 all the way into it. That means he's going 8ths in 12 seconds in his morning trials, and Ron Marquette's horses are running so well.
Talking about World Fair, there's another look at Mellifluous to the inside. Levy was dry, and so why do you think today might be different after I just expected more in his last race, the way the race unfolded, in front, in control, and just kind of threw in the towel?
Well, David Jacobson's not a trainer that works horses hard. And he claimed this horse in November. Horse started late January. A lot of stops and starts in training because of inclement weather. And David, if you look at his horse's work, 52, 38, 51. Horse like this probably was really in need of a start and could move up in a big way from a fitness standpoint.
Opportunity if Skelly Road is not up to the task today. Maggie mentioning a little nervous pre-race.
And really washing out by the time he got to the gate. Maggie picked up on it, and he really kind of took it to another level with the washing out.
Not what you want to see if you're backing a 7-5 favorite. But he is a choice at post time. Skelly Road. Time for the cross-country Pick 5 live from Oaklawn. Race 5 on Fox Sports 2.
We're ready to go. And we're off. Great day for Vino, off slowly. No problems from Chun Money, who steps on the gas with Trevi was dry, and Levy was dry has the lead coming down the backstretch here from Chun Money and World Fair, who's right up on the outside, 3 deep. Skelly Road right behind that top trio, pretty much line up down the backstretch. Good News Rocket to the inside of his stablemate Skelly Road now. Then American Litigator niggled along on the outside. My Kid Sid right behind that rival. Mellifluous is second to last early, and Great Day for Vino, the slow starter, is trailing as they go into the far turn. On the lead, Levy was dry, goes quick, leads a half length from Chun Money. World Fair got a breather on the turn. Now he's coming back on again in the 3-path in chase mode, but he's moving up as they round the far turn, approaching the top of the lane. Gap of 2 to My Kid Sid, trying to get into it from towards the back of the field. He's 4 deep off the turn, needs to get going, and Skelly Road has dropped back. He's done as they come down the lane, is going to run last. They come down the stretch here. My Kid Sid on the grandstand side, trying to catch the top 3, has got a shot to do it. Levy was dry, continues to grittily hold off World Fair. Chun Money weakens. Levy was dry, keeps going. He just keeps grinding away, and Levy was dry, took him all the way. World Fair in the photo for second with My Kid Sid, and then Mellifluous, who is 4th, Chun Money right next to him, and an American Litigator.
Trouble line after his last effort, Red caved. No throwing in the towel today for Levy. Was dry in front, digging, repelling all challengers, and graduating in his 6th career start. 7-2 at post time.
Well, and again, from a fitness standpoint, you had to anticipate he was going to be a much fitter horse this time after having that start the last day of January. David Jacobson, a trainer who will race his horses into condition. And this is a horse that has good speed, so it's harder for horses like that if they're not 100% fit because they've run the entire race. He was game today. He found more. One thing about Ricardo Santana, when he has speed and an inside post, you can go to the bank. He's going to use that speed. He is not a guy that gives away inside position. Really nice effort from World Fair, who plugged along nicely. And My Kid Sid just couldn't get by him for the place, the 10 horse from the outside.
Other side of the story, Skelly Road. Maggie's observations, your observations and concerns, not unfounded, a complete non-factor.
Well, Maggie clued in on it first, and then watching him as he headed to the gate, I completely concurred, and he ran like a horse that just was not happy with the proceedings.
Levy was dry here at Oaklawn Park. Greg, in time now for the second leg in this cross-country Pick 5.
Yeah, those connections going to be toasted with some whiskey and rye tonight. Here's Excel Arena, 15-1 to kick off our post parade.
You know, you look at this field, they're all non-winners of 2 lifetimes. She's 1 for 18 with 4 seconds, and I just don't like her last effort.
Political spin. Ruben Silvera, Rudy Rodriguez first off the claim.
Yeah, Rudy's going to have to find the very best form, and claiming this horse from Linda Rice, the last effort, gives her no chance.
Shahana had been a good form till last start.
Yeah, I picked her on top because I'm hoping she can get back to her better form off the claim for Chris Englehart, but you have to be concerned.
There's Allie's Song, the 4.
I mean, I guess she's not impossible if you think the 3 and 5 are going to show up at least off her race 2 back. Her last race, bad.
Speed, but back-to-back bad efforts, enigmatic.
Lane Leslie has one job per in the lead. If she can refine her form before her last race, she can win. But you said 2 bad races, the one in the slop.
Blinker's coming off a 6 who went by.
I mean, she's an interesting horse if you can get like 6-1 or 5-1. She's not interesting at 3-1.
She's a Bernardini. Skipped over the 7. There's the 7. Blinker's on the 8.
A lot of Stripes fans here today. 9-2 on this horse.
Yeah.
Good luck to her.
Maybe it's Bill Murray money.
Big tip.
That's the fact, Jack. Dominic Scatino.
What about the 8?
We saw the 8.
Oh, okay.
33-1. Any case for the 8?
Wise guy trainer. That's the best I can say. The form gives her no chance.
Okay, down to Paulie.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Andy. And, you know, I was in between the 2 horses. At least I know that Andy likes. He likes the 3. And I kind of like the 5 in here. But the price on the 5, when you look at the will pace, the 5 is going to be your favorite here. And I don't know if I really want to take 9-5 on that horse. Now, when you have the 3 in here, I do think it's between the 3 and the 5, maybe to get towards the front end, or at least that the 3 has got a little bit more experience at a mile and has been able to sit a tiny bit off the pace. I think the public has fallen into a little bit of the trap of that they think that there's going to be a ton of speed in this race, and maybe the 6 can come from off the pace, I'm completely against the 6 in here. If I was going to use somebody from off the pace, why wouldn't you take 19-1 on a horse like the 2 in here that can maybe come from off the pace? You got to draw a line through a lot of these horses, and then you come up with a conclusion. All these horses got races to go to that are bad. Some of them got races that are very good. I do think that speed will hold up in this race, and that's why I ended up on the 5. I can understand exactly where Andy ended up on the 3 because I was between those 2 horses. I'm against the 6 in here, guys. I just think 5-2 is way too low, and I just want to make a little bit of an adjustment from last race. The 1A was not claimed. It was the 1, the straight 1, Celestial Gaze, that was claimed by Rick Dutrow. The 5, Bermudo, by Fernando Abreu. And the 7, C's Got Degrees, goes to the Linda Rice barn, Greg.
All right, Paulie, thank you. Post time coming up, 8-5, Enigmatic. By the way, I got a trivia question for you since you brought up That's the Fact, Jack and Stripes.
I'm ready.
What was the name of the urban assault vehicle?
Oh, wow. I don't know.
EM50.
Wow, I did not know that. It was a big conversation on the handicapping show earlier because I was on with somebody we work with, and it wasn't Kinchin, that had never seen Stripes. And he's not that young.
Wow.
He's lucky. He's got the opportunity to look forward to seeing it for the first time.
Yeah, I wish I could see it again fresh.
I barely remember from the first time I saw it, but I've seen it about 40 times. One of the all-time most entertaining movies.
Incredible movie. Enigmatic has become the favorite, 9-5, which we expected. Speed, Blaine Luzzy, and dropping down. Can she turn that bad form around? She is checked out pretty early in the last 2 starts. Michelle Giangiulio claiming off of Linda Rice, set for the 6th. Here's Chris Griffin.
She's a Bernardini to the outside. She's a Bernardini. Going in. All set. And they're off. In between horses, Enigmatic flashes early speed right to the front and has company towards the inside. As Ali's Song is right there, so is Shahana. That's the top trio. Far outside is going to be That's the Fact, Jack, is followed by She's a Bernardini, who's there in 5th. Line of 3. At the back end of the field, that's Accelerina with Political Spin in between horses, just having to steady briefly. And moving forward, Let Me Drink is second to last as they work up the backstretch. Enigmatic and Lane Luzzy there in front. They're in control, and they went 23.58 for the opening quarter mile. Chasing from second, that's Ali's Song. She's a Bernardini is right there in 3rd, is still about 6 lengths off the leading duo. Accelerina starts to move forward now. Just behind them, That's the Fact, Jack gets the hurry up here from 5th. Towards the outside, Let Me Drink, Political Spin, and losing a lot of ground there. Far, far back, Shahana is just tailing off. Is already now about 12 lengths at the back end of the field as they work into the far turn. 47.51 for the half-mile time. Enigmatic is in control. Enigmatic is in front, and Ali's Song is all in. She's a Bernardini is making up some ground, and here comes a big long shot towards the outside. Enigmatic has the lead, approaches a quarter mile left to go. She's a Bernardini is making up some ground towards the outside. Can Enigmatic hold off this almost 50-1 shot towards the outside? And She's a Bernardini has now taken the lead. From the back here, Rally On, Let Me Drink is coming after the leader. Can She's a Bernardini get there? A 16th left to go. She's a Bernardini. Madison over. She's a Bernardini, the longest shot of the field. 48-1 gets the victory over Let Me Drink, Enigmatic, and Ali's Song in 1 minute 42 and 1.
48-1 upset. 4-year-old debut. She's a Bernardini. A shocker. Getting by the favorite down the stretch, Maddie Ulver for the Robert Johnston barn.
Let's be clear. She has absolutely no chance whatsoever on paper. She isn't even an underlay at 48-1 on paper. But this is a trainer that's 2 for 5 here, and one of them was a pretty improbable winner, to be honest with you. So it's a little late now, and I said in the post parade, she doesn't figure, but it is a wise guy outfit. And you could see the entire way that she was going to win this race.
Wow.
I mean, and there is absolutely nothing in her PPs that you could possibly like about this
Yeah,
horse.
I mean, as you said, she was the biggest price on the board at 48-1. She's probably going to play bigger than that.
Well, she's coming out of lower level races at Finger Lakes where she wasn't competitive. But There's something about this barn, whatever it is, and they are running.
8-6-5-4. She's a Bernardini, 48-1. Knocking most out of multi-race wagers here in her 4-year-old return. Have the prices from this when we come back. Wow, what just happened? Stay with us.
Charge, it is pouring it on, winning the Dwyer by the length of the stretch. Charge It wins it convincingly in this Grade 2 Suburban.
Enhance your handicapping with AI Fast Facts, exclusively on NyraBets. Open your NyraBets app, click View Runner Details, and a stat-driven fact will appear for all U.S. thoroughbred racehorses. Download the NyraBets app to start using Fast Facts today.
General admission tickets are on sale now for the Belmont Stakes on June 7th at Saratoga Racecourse. Don't miss your chance to witness the historical third leg of the Triple Crown. Get your tickets today by visiting belmontstakes.com/tickets.
Justify comes roaring home. He's just an immortal. Justify is the 13th Triple Crown winner.
An Arabian Lion claws to the front here. Arabian Lion to win the Grade 1. Woody Stevens. One minute, 21 and 3/5 seconds.
Get into the game with Bond Racing Stable. When you partner with Bond Racing Stable, the Bond team does all the work and you enjoy the experience. As a partner, you can watch morning workouts, come to the paddock for saddling, and cheer your horse down the stretch. Bond Racing Stable offers more than 30 New York-bred weanlings, yearlings, and 2-year-olds in a partnership program that gets you to the winner's circle. Whether on your own or with friends and family, make Bond Racing Stable your racing partners. Go to jamesbondracing.com today.
Back with you on our Friday coverage. You're watching America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by legendary Clayburn Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. What an upset we just had here in South Ozone Park. She's a Bernardini, 4-year-old return to the races, 1 for 12 lifetime coming in, had not been really competitive in lower level claiming races at Finger Lakes. Shocker at 48-1.
She is completely and totally impossible on paper. But now, over the last 5 years, this trainer has won with 4 of 10 horses. They are, including this horse, 48-1, 44-1, 15-1, and 4-1. So it's a little late now, but sometimes in a race like this, you're willing to take a shot with a horse who has absolutely no chance whatsoever on paper, and there's no way you can justify the pick. This is your horse.
Pick 3, $311 for the $98 horse.
I think if you're alive in this late pick 4, or if you're alive in the cross country, you're alive for the pool.
Yes.
You're alive in the pick 5 here. You're alive for a big slice of the pool. We wish you the best of luck. If you got this horse in your tickets, I was not smart enough to chuck it in my tickets.
After having said,
I know. I'm not redboarding it. I looked at this horse long and hard.
You told us.
Because it was a ridiculous race, and I wished I could have found, but there's nothing in the PPs I could say, and I just taking a shot with a trainer that wins with long shots. Maybe I wish I had.
This race, $50,000 claiming 1 turn mile coming up at his 4-year-olds and up in 3-5 Runnin' Ray, who would put together back-to-back wins here at Aqueduct in November and December.
Well, I mean, this race was absolutely massacred by scratches. You had Power Seeker and Skylander in particular coming out of the race who were going to play out as 2 of the choices, and now you're left with Running Ray, who should be stalking. Now he's no 3-5 shot, but he is probably the horse to beat. Though I will say, the entry is a very dangerous player. I know the one, I don't know where the race came from, and he comes out of that merry-go-round race we talked about with Bermudo, but they look like they could sort of run 1-2 and kind of run shotgun.
Yeah.
The 1A could ride shotgun for the one, the old harness term, and make it very difficult for the others. The good thing if you like Running Ray is he's fast enough to be stalking behind, but the entry's dangerous.
And, yeah, Running Ray as well, coming out of a much, much tougher spot, but that is a serious rival, certainly in the one. This entry could pose a real threat. We'll have more in the 7th when we come back. Our coverage on this Friday afternoon continues here on Fox Sports 2. Still ahead, Horse of the Year, ready for her 4-year-old return, Thorpedo Anna. Could she possibly be even better now as a 4-year-old? We're going to find out more in the Azeri on Saturday.
The brilliance of the legendary Arrowgate and the speed and stamina of the sire of sires, Uncle Mo. Introducing Petulante, the first son of Arrowgate to stand in New York after winning handily at first asking.
Petulante! He's got a kick here, and he's going to prove much the best.
He won or placed in all 7 of his lifetime starts, including the Great Prix Salvatore Mile.
Petulante, Nimbus class, Petulante!
Petulante, now standing in New York. For information, visit IHDVStallions.com today.
Welcome back. America's Day at the Races, live look, Oak Lawn Park. Big day tomorrow. Return of the Horse of the Year. During this Eclipse era, going back to 1971, 7 fillies or mares have been crowned Horse of the Year. So how did they do upon return all along? Defeated at Belmont in the Turf Classic in 1984. Ladies Secret, the Iron Mare, 86 Horse of the Year, faced the boys in the Don. Things didn't work out. Azeri, right on cue, tomorrow's Azeri. She came back in her first start after capturing Horse of the Year, took down the Apple Blossom. Rachel Alexandra, not quite the same filly at 4, as dominant as she was as 3, defeated at Fairgrounds in her 4-year-old debut. A Zenyatta, 2010 Horse of the Year, after falling short to Blame in the Breeders' Cup Classic. She was, in fact, retired. However, to grace a successful return to the races, she won the New Orleans Ladies Stakes, the 2011 Horse of the Year. And Thorpedo Anna, she is back tomorrow. What will she do in her first start as a 4-year-old filly in the Azeri? We'll find out tomorrow evening. Richie, why is it that we shouldn't simply expect that, as brilliant as she may have been last year, it's not a given necessarily that we'll see the same filly here in 2025.
Well, the ability they showed in their Hall of Fame campaigns, or I mean, Horse of the Year campaigns, I should say, excuse me, doesn't always translate the following year, and it has more to do with their enthusiasm for the game, less to do with their physicality. It's how much they enjoy it still. And sometimes their mind wants to go in other directions. Sometimes they don't want to go back to a place where they had to dig so deep to create a resume to be Horse of the Year. Now, watching Thorpedo Anna, she trains with enthusiasm. Now we just have to see if she's going to race with enthusiasm.
The crowning of a champion, not that there was any question going into the Breeders' Cup distaff. She didn't have to face the defending champ, Idiomatic. She controlled things from the start. Did Thorpedo Anna and wire to wire the last time she raced out west in the Breeders' Cup distaff.
Yeah, a dominant performance. And listen, after she was second in the Travers, she won the Cotillion, but one of her less stellar performances. And I wondered that day, that hard effort in the Travers, is that going to maybe make her enthusiasm for the game wane? Well, that wasn't the case. She found a way to win in the Cotillion when she wasn't at her best. And then she showed that she still liked the game the way she won the Breeders' Cup.
So, in observing how she is prepared for her 4-year-old debut, what is she tipping her hand in any way to give us an indication of what we might expect from Thorpedo Anna tomorrow evening?
Well, this is her this morning training right here at Oaklawn Park, and I love the way she was striding out. I love the way she was galloping. She still has that enthusiasm. Again, in the mornings, in the heat of competition, it's a little different. I really don't anticipate her not showing up. I think she's going to be very, very tough to beat, but until they actually do it, it is something that needs to be addressed.
Just remember, thinking back to Rachel Alexandra, it felt like covering that race, it was almost a concession, that it was a foregone conclusion that, yeah, she was going to go out there and do what she always did, was win. And just the shock of watching her lose in her first start as a 4-year-old filly.
Well, she had to go so deep to the well. She beat the boys in the Preakness with a hard-fought victory. She won the Haskell, but her race in the Woodward, taking on older males, and we will never see a 3-year-old filly campaign like that again. She answered the bell every single time, and I think it might have just depleted her a little bit as she came back as a 4-year-old.
Can't wait to see what she does. Thorpedo Anna right back where it all started. Her first start last year here at Oaklawn Park, sensational in the fantasy. What will she do in the Azeri? Horse of the Year, champion 3-year-old filly on site here at Oaklawn with the Mig Maggie Wolfendale. All day long, terrific Saturday of thoroughbred racing at Oaklawn Park. Thorpedo Anna is back. Meantime, Friday program, race number 6 here. There's the field. Updated odds. $35,000 claimers, non-winners to lifetime, all for sale, all one for something. Fillies and mares, 5-2, number 3, Belle Cherie, favored. We'll see her in a moment. There's Up the Creek.
Well, Up the Creek's race 3 back when she ran for maiden 50 would make her very competitive here. She's faced much tougher in her next 2 starts.
Belle Cherie, Asmussen's own, train, ride, musical prayer. A claim from Steve Asmussen by Michael Rome.
Well, making a nice impression on the racetrack, really on her toes.
Wildwood Queen, first of 2 Arkansas breds.
Is going to have to get considerably faster to be competitive here.
Valhalla Vixen pictured. Tyler Bacon again, 3rd in the Oaklawn standings. Big season.
And this is the kind of horse that Tyler Bacon really excels on. Kind of a free-running horse. They run up into his hands.
Wampus Kitten bet down to 7-1. Been struggling of late.
Struggling of late, is getting that drop in class, though. Maybe that'll change things for her.
Chica Arma, 7-1.
Well, you get Christian Torres for Greg Compton, who is a guy that I wasn't as familiar with. I've gotten familiar with him. Good horseman.
Devious Diva, 3rd at 112-1 in a stakes race at Remington.
Yeah, and another one. Just feels like she's going to have to find a race that we haven't seen from her yet.
And finally, take her back at 9-1 in Walter de la Cruz.
Well, they didn't take her back last time for maiden 25 and allowed her to run free on the lead. I think there's just horses that are naturally quicker than her in here.
3rd leg of this cross-country pick 5, race 6, Oaklawn, Belle Cherie. This was her last start on dirt, 2 races back. Right here, Richie, Belle Cherie, you'll see, saving ground on the inside and does finish up well.
Yeah, and she finished up very well. You had to like the effort. She missed by half a length. Kind of looked to me like she wasn't the most comfortable in that position, right? She had her head cocked, kind of looking at the horse to the outside of her.
And then takes off.
And then finally, like, okay, there's enough room on the inside here. Drops her head, I'm sorry, she's on the outside finishing there. But here's the thing. She's 1 for 17, and that only win came on the turf. She has never won a race on dirt, although her races are good enough on the dirt to win here.
Let's see if she's due for another victory. Belle Cherie, the favorite at 5-2. We check in with Maggie Trackside.
And guys, nice little crowd here for this Friday afternoon at Oaklawn. Busy apron, people out here enjoying the nice weather, but more importantly, enjoying the good racing. As yes, we'll take a look here at your favorite. And I agree with Richie. When it comes to Belle Cherie, the fact of the matter is this the right condition for her? I'll tell you what, physically, she does not look like your proverbial dirt sprinter. She does have a lot of length to her frame, so I wonder if she's better with A, a little bit more ground, and B, well, the proof is already in the pudding. She might be a better turf horse, and on top of all that, she definitely does not possess that killer instinct. She's very quiet, very kind of laid back. I don't want to say, I hate using that word demure, but that's kind of what she is. There's no she lacks intensity with her warm-ups, at least from what I'm observing from her. So does that let her get involved early enough to make her competitive here? Because like we saw in that replay, she seems to be hitting her best strides late when the race is nearly over. So we'll see what she does here. I preferred others, and actually I do prefer number 4, Musical Prayer, who will go and lead the Steve Asmussen barn and go out for New Connections, who are having a struggling type of meet. But looking at number 4 here on the racetrack, she looks much better in the paddock. She looks okay out there with Nick Juarez aboard, really aggressively warming her up. With those blinkers going on today, she really caught my eye when watching her back in the paddock. Really strong behind the saddle, just really well muscled. Again, wish she was warming up a little bit better out there. I'm still going to land on her though, and it seems like the blinkers going on, while she does have some tactical speed, she kind of seems to lack that late punch overall, so we'll see what shakes out with Musical Prayer. And then on the rail is number 2, Up the Creek for Matt Shire. Last time we saw her, just kind of a one-pace type of effort where she does take a while to get into stride, so that's always a concern. I prefer my dirt sprinters, as most people do, that have a bit more speed, but it does look as though Matt brings her back really fit. And this is by far the easiest spot that we have seen her in throughout her career. So if I'm going to pivot, because I'm not loving the way the 4 is warming up, I would pivot to her. Lafitte?
Looks the part. Softer competition up the creek. 5-1 here with about a minute to go till this 6th race, and this good crowd on hand on the eve of the Azeri and the return of Thorpedo Anna tomorrow afternoon. And Richie, you've been here about 6 weeks. Great stuff on site, and having a chance to meet the fans and right next to the set here they are, trackside as well, and coming up and saying hello. What has been your biggest takeaway from the time spent thus far at Oaklawn?
Well, first of all, just how nice everybody is. I can't say enough about how welcoming, warm. They're enthusiastic. They love their racing, and they want to talk to you about it, which is great. It reminds me a great deal of Saratoga in that respect. People coming up
to Saratoga of the South,
right? Yeah, people coming up to the set want to talk to us. You go out for dinner. What's the conversation in the restaurant? It's about what happened at the races that day and what everybody's anticipating for the next day. And we got a lot to anticipate tomorrow with the reigning horse of the year coming back.
Terrific day of thoroughbred racing tomorrow afternoon. Hope you'll join us right here on Fox Sports 2. Valhalla Vixen, number 6 at 5-1. Your top selection here, Richie.
I think she is the main speed. I think she goes to the lead and controls here. You get Tyler Bacon, he's such a young, talented rider. He's going to improve. He's going to get better at certain things. But something that you can't teach a rider is to get horses balanced and running up to their hands as nicely and kindly as he does. They use themselves more efficiently then. Their speed will last longer, and you're getting a 5-pound break in the weights with Tyler Bacon. I've been a big fan, a big advocate of his since I got here. I've really been impressed.
3rd in the standings. It's early March. This kind of success, is that a surprise? Is this what was expected in terms of what was expected going into the meet versus the productivity? What do you make of it?
Well, I think it is somewhat of a surprise. Oaklawn has not been a place historically that has been really kind to apprentice jockeys. You know, there's a real strong core of good journeyman riders that have their business locked up. He's been making his way into barns that apprentices usually don't make their way in, and most notably, Wayne Lucas, who just thinks the world of him and definitely has his ear. He's always kind of talking to him. I know we say it, we call him the coach. Well, he's coaching Tyler Bacon, and you can see it's showing.
Amazing what that must do for a young rider. We saw with Keith Asmussen last year, rode in the Oaks and the Derby for Wayne Lucas, and now the confidence Lucas is showing in Tyler Bacon.
Well, he's riding him in stakes races where you don't get the benefit of the weight allowance. That speaks volumes of confidence right there. I think Valhalla Vixen jumps out to the lead and is going to take a pretty tough time catching.
As for Keith, riding for Dad, the Asmussens. Belle Cherie, the favorite at post time, 5-2. Filing in, Matt Dinnerman with the call. Post time, race 6 live from Oaklawn Park.
Late pick 5 here. Take her back to the outside post with Walter de la Cruz. Go again. We're ready to go. And light off. An eventful start for all the runners in the race. Valhalla Vixen on the lead with the gray Musical Prayer. Take Her Back has speed from the far outside. These three are across the track down the backstretch. There's about 5 of them right behind. Up the creek is there in the rail with Belle Cherie, who's between horses now. Wampus Kitten in the group with Chica Arma, and Devious Diva drops to the back of the pack, and she's running 7 lengths behind. They're down the backstretch and approaching the far turn. Musical Prayer on the lead of neck. Valhalla Vixen right there, turning up the heat as they go into the far turn run. Take Her Back attempting to stalk and pounce from third, 3 wide, nickeled along a little bit, gaining a little bit of ground as they round the far turn. Up the creek in fourth, 4 lengths off the lead as the top 3 have opened up on the rest of the group. Chica Arma in an all-out drive, so is Belle Cherie, not picking up her feet at the top of the stretch. Musical Prayer, nose in front. Valhalla Vixen between horses. Take Her Back on the far outside. Take Her Back comes looking for the lead. Valhalla Vixen hanging tough from between horses. Musical Prayer could not keep up. Down the center of the track, up the creek, trying to pick up the early leaders here. Valhalla Vixen, Take Her Back continue to do battle, and Valhalla Vixen is turning away Take Her Back in the final 16th. Valhalla Vixen for the Mac Robertson barn to win it. Take Her Back was second, just ahead of Up the Creek, and the gray Musical Prayer was 4th across the line.
Right on cue. Tyler Bacon, Valhalla Vixen. Well done, Mig. 4-1 at post time.
I'll be honest with you, Lafitte, I was questioning the tactics when he was raiding in between horses down the backstretch. It was the right move. He had something left. And this is how you tell a young rider is really getting it, seeing the ball, if you will. He had one experiencer riding her last time where she was on the lead, 21-3. Today he raided her a little bit. Even though she was on the pace, he was definitely saving a little bit of horse. So when a young rider learns something about a horse with one experience, that bodes well for them going forward. You don't only have to be a good rider, you have to be a good horse person. You've got to be somebody who kind of understands and takes things away from an experience and improves on it, and that's what you saw right there.
What went wrong with the favorite, Belle Cherie, off the board, 6-11-2-4 here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to go back and watch it. I just really never picked her up, and maybe it was just a flat effort, but she, as your favorite, had never won a race on the dirt going in, and she still has never won a race on the dirt.
Results forthcoming here at Oaklawn Park. Back to Aqueduct, Greg and Richie gearing up for the 7th at the Big A.
Yes, we are. Here comes our post parade for this $50,000 claiming one-turn mile. And we start with this dangerous entry, Magnolia Midnight Post 2.
Probably the one that will be slightly more forwardly placed than an entry mate. Ran a big figure last time with a pace advantage.
Far outside post for the other half of the entry, Gun It.
And he did not run well last time, but he's got plenty of races that make him competitive here.
To the 4, Alternate Reality.
Yeah, it's a jump up in class. The horse is a price, and the horse has some talent. Ran okay last time, but I think it's a move up in class. You like this horse more than I do.
Those last 2 races were very good, though.
No, I don't disagree, but this is a tougher spot.
Running Ray Kinder Carmouche rolls by.
He's the horse to beat. He should be stalking. There's nothing not to like about him. He's very logical.
Margin of Error making his 6-year-old return.
It's kind of a neat name. He has some back form, but claimed away from Jamie Ness, even by Linda Rice, worries me.
And they're seeking Unity to 3, who gets the rail.
Why is he impossible? He's run some good races recently. I prefer others, but I don't think he's far from impossible.
Kendrick Carmouche having a very good meet here at Aqueduct just recently. named the winner of the George Wolfe Memorial Jockey Award, and he'll be presented with that later this spring at Santa Anita. Very prestigious award.
And congrats to Kendrick. It's a award of your peers, which is always kind of a, an extra special award. And we congratulate Kendrick, who's, a friend of all of ours.
Yeah, very deserving. Well done, Kendrick. We're happy for you. 3-2 favorite. He'll ride Runnin' Ray here. Let's go downstairs to Paul.
Yeah, I got a chance to talk to Kendrick about that, and he just gave me a big hug, and he went by me and said, thank you very much. And he's just so humble about the award, and it couldn't be better to a better individual, to Kendrick. And listen, Running Ray is the horse to beat because of his tactability, right? He's able to sit from a little bit off the pace. Now, his last start, he kind of was really wide, and you could see Lane Luzzy was, trying to take the horse off the duel. He didn't really want to go. He wanted to go from the 10 slide. He just got hung out very wide. I thought he was actually courageous to keep on going and run a decent 6, to be honest with you. He only loses the whole ball of wax by 3 lengths. But his other 2 races were very good. He was a horse that can do whatever he wants, and he opened up big margins coming into the lane. So he is the horse to beat. I'm surprised at the 1 and the 7, because if you look at the wheel pace, they're all really close to 1, 6, and 7. I thought the 6 would be your clear favorite, but I can understand where the public is going with the 1, the straight 1, who does have a lot of speed. But Greg, I'm landing with you. I like the 4 alternate reality, because when you look at this horse lost at Magnolia Midnight, the straight 1, by only 2 lengths on a sloppy racetrack. This horse was gelded last year, and you can tell that he might have got a little bit better. Now he's gotten better, essentially better, in the Chris Engelhart barn. I thought his last race was good. I thought he's looked tremendous on the racetrack. I am surprised that he is 10-1, the longest shot in the field by far. I think he's a horse. He's going in the right direction. I think you're getting a heck of a price at that, at 10-1. And we already saw a 48-1 shot win. This horse wins. The pick 5s will be through the roof.
There will be some that aren't paying. I agree with Paulie, and I know you thought this horse was way overladen here too. Greg, you like him a little too. I agree. He should not be 10-1 in this race. I don't like him. I think these are much tougher horses, but I absolutely agree with you guys that he is a massive overlay. He's probably supposed to be about 5-6-1 in this race, and I think he is an overlay. I don't love his chances, but I do think that he is too big a price.
Meanwhile, entry favored now. That 1-2 punch of Magnolia Midnight in post 2, the 1A Gunnet with that outside post. Both, have speed and can be forward. Certainly Magnolia Midnight wants to go.
I mean, it's a position where they could be sort of controlling the race, and it kind of falls a little to Runnin' Ray to be putting some pressure on them, but he's not going to do anything to compromise them, and he's not going to be compromised even if they're kind of controlling, which gives him a better chance.
Set for the 7th. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
Gunnet moving forward. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Speed immediately towards the outside from Margin of Error, and there's Gunnet in the early mix, but they're pretty lined up, and now moving on through is Magnolia Midnight. So the entry is going to be 1-2. It's going to be Magnolia Midnight and Gunnet right there as they get set to come out of the chute, and just off of them, Seeking Unity is a tracking 3rd. Alternate Reality moves forward, center of the racetrack. Here comes Margin of Error is engaged, is now taking that 3rd position away. Back to 4th is Seeking Unity, who comes right back and reclaims that spot, and the trailer, Runnin' Ray. They're chasing Magnolia Midnight through a 23.40 opening quarter mile. Sitting there in 2nd is Gunnet, and at the rails, Seeking Unity is now a close-up 3rd. Margin of Error gets the hurry up towards the outside from 4th. The 2 at the back still. Runnin' Ray and Alternate Reality. Less than a half mile to go, 46-4. The half-mile time, Magnolia Midnight is just rolling right along. Magnolia Midnight Gunnet is encouraged to move forward, and Margin of Error is on the move 3 wide. Runnin' Ray, Alternate Reality travels nicely. Purple Silks is running on from the back, is going to be wide as they approach a quarter mile left to go. Magnolia Midnight is still ahead in front. In pursuit, Margin of Error. Runnin' Ray is called upon for the effort. Gunnet is looking to split rivals. Alternate Reality is on the grandstand side, trying to cut into the margin of now Runnin' Ray. Runnin' Ray is kicking away. It's Runnin' Ray who's clear, and Runnin' Ray is sprinted up by 4. Margin of error in full pursuit. Alternate Reality up on the outside. But no doubt, Kendrick Carmouche and Runnin' Ray. There's your winner. Runnin' Ray wins it over Alternate Reality. Then came Margin of Error and Magnolia Midnight in 1 minute 39.53 seconds.
Runnin' Ray, completely dominant, was in no hurry early on in this race.
Yeah, I was saying to you in the backstretch when Kendrick was surprisingly last with this horse, either he's going to run last because he just can't run, or he better win, or somebody's going to ask Kendrick what you were doing so far back. Well, Kendrick knew what he was doing, because I don't think it mattered if this horse did a cartwheel down the backstretch the way he won today. And it is absolutely shocking that he's not favored. And you look at the pick 3, he's an overwhelming favorite over the entry. Now, things are a little skewed. When a $100 horse wins, there are some aberrant situations, but I got to think it's a very... I text my friend David Aragona, the morning line maker. He would say to me, I cannot believe this horse was not favored, would be my guess.
Back-to-back dominant wins, and then just facing way tougher last start, but did not go off your favorite. This is 11th win of his career. Long way back to second. And the recently named George Wolfe Memorial Award winner, Kendrick Carmouche, aboard for the victory on this 9-year-old who still has plenty left in the tank. It's fun to see.
I got to tell you something. When whatever day he's going out to California to get that award, his agent Jimmy Riccio needs to get on the phone, because there's absolutely no reason that Kendrick shouldn't have a couple, unless he doesn't want to ride. Maybe he wants to get the award and have a couple cocktails and enjoy himself, which I'm all for.
I think he'd prefer to ride.
If he'd like to ride, there's no reason he shouldn't ride, because Kendrick's an excellent rider, and I think he'd do just fine out there.
6-4-7-1, Runnin' Ray with the victory here. Again, 11th win of his 9-year-old career. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we'll look to weekend stakes action here in New York. And New York Breds in the Gander set to line up on Saturday, including Moplex. Grade 3 Sanford winner from this summer at Saratoga.
How magnificent was Full Count Felicia? Never in doubt.
Coming down to the finish, First World War. Fort Washington on the outside. They're coming down to the line, and Goliad does it.
Warfront, standing at Clayburn Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
The only colt ever to win 3 one-mile Grade 1s on dirt. Ran the fastest buyer of the year. That's him, 6 wide, streaking clear.
Here comes Cody's
2 more Grade 1s at 7/8. Here's his forego, also running a 112 bite. That's 5 Grade 1s all told. No other son of Sire of Sires Curlin has so many. They say, be careful what you wish for. We agree.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back with you on our Friday coverage. Brought to you by Naira Bets, where you can play it all. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. And as we get set for race 8, approaching the 20-minute mark to post here in New York. Oaklawn's 7th, about 14 minutes away. And there's a look at your George Wolfe Memorial Award winner, Kendrick Carmouche. Runnin' Ray just blasts this field for Gustavo Rodriguez, winning trainer.
When you ride a horse like this, when you're an experienced top rider like Kendrick, it's kind of like, I just got to stay out of trouble and not do anything too stupid, and I'm riding the best horse, because this guy, he was a week the best in here.
He has now won 3 of his last 4 starts. 9-year-old who, he's got a ways to go, but end of this calendar year, he's going to have to move somewhere else.
Yeah, that's a rule that I'm not a big fan of, as some people know.
10-year-old's not allowed to run in New York. Yeah, don't quite get that.
I
but
don't get it. Seems
look how good he still is.
But when he turns 10, he just won't be competitive.
Alternate reality up for second, margin of error third, as we take a look at the cross-country Big 5 follow-along. And yeah, we're shocked he didn't go off the favorite. The entry did, but I think he may play as the favorite.
7,500, so it's around a $2,000 parlay, a little less for 50 cents. But a $100 horse, maybe the guys will find out if anyone's alive in it, because it ain't easy.
All right, well, this race, going to close out the card. 7 furlongs, 4-year-olds and up who have never won 3 or have not won a race since March 7th of last year. $16,000 condition claiming race.
Yeah, this is the most fun race of the day. I mean, this is a wild field, and there's, I think the winner is going to come from somebody in the 3, 9, 10, 11, 12. Nothing too clever about that. I picked the 11, switching to Steve Schoer, who had done so well with C's Get Degrees. But I think Perfect Flight is kind of interesting on the outside. I think Beachwalker's actually the horse that, I'm not saying the race was written for him, but he fits the condition perfectly. This is basically a non-winners of 3 lifetime, except there are 3 horses in this race, Beachwalker being one of them, Clubhouse and Perfect Flight, that got in the condition because one of them is non-winners of a race since March 7th of 2024. And the last win for the 10 Beachwalker is March 1st of 2024. So he's the closest to it, and he gets in the race. And those are the 3 horses that kind of, they're not out of conditions, but in a way they are, because it's mostly a non-winners of 3.
Talk more about this field. Yeah, coming up to close it out in a moment. Gander, we touched on. Coming up this weekend, Belmont of the Big A Spring Summer Meet, May 1st through July 6th. Look at all this action at Saratoga, June 4th through 8th, Belmont Stakes Racing Festival, and then the July 4th Racing Festival will be upstate as well.
And as it says, just head over to NYRA.com. We announced the stake schedule for all of those meets coming up, and the Harvey Pack has been moved to July 4th. And I know you're pretty excited about that already, but a lot to look forward to.
Anytime we get more Saratoga, I'm always excited.
I'm pretty good with spending a few extra days up there.
Going to be a lot of fun. Get your tickets as soon as you can, because that is going to be a packed weekend.
And the new restaurant from the owners of Hamlet and Ghost.
Really?
On Philo Street. Familiar Creature.
You going to be able to get me in?
I'll work on that.
Okay.
You're popular there. They like you there. You eat there second to me. You're there fairly frequently, occasionally me, but you're a fan.
Gander, $125,000 purse, 1-turn mile for 3-year-olds. Fold in New York State. We talked about Moplex going to break. We'll get to him in a moment. Let's start with National Identity for Danny Gargan. A couple of near misses off his maiden win.
Yeah, listen, he ran terrific behind.
Did 2 very good ones.
Behind Sand Devil last time, who obviously ran well in the Gotham and didn't embarrass him.
Before that.
Yeah, it's an interesting race because Moplex has speed, he has speed. They are the horses to beat. He's run very well in his last race. We'll see if he can back it up. He got a 93 buyer, I think, last time in defeat. He runs that race. He's probably going to win here, but he's got to prove to me at a short price that he can run those races back to back. But he was good last time, no doubt about it.
Against a very good one, yeah. And Sand Devil, who was just second.
The Gotham
Derby
was
prep.
Nothing in defeat.
Yeah. Well, he has the recency. He's got the bigger numbers. He has run faster races. But then there's Moplex coming back. He's going to make his 3-year-old debut. And if he progresses, he beat Open Company at Saratoga in graded stakes race.
He didn't embarrass himself in the Champagne. And, Jeremiah Englehart was talking about running him the Gotham. So obviously he must feel he's doing well. I'm not going to knock him. I've tried to beat him in the past. I'm going to try to beat both of these horses this weekend. But we'll be interested to see what he does off the layoff. And he's supposed to be the speed in here. They kind of have to go from the near inside post.
3-year-old return. Started out his career perfect, 3 for 3. Won the Sanford, then he won the funny side as well against New York Breds to back that up. So he had a very productive summer. See what he comes back as a 3-year-old. Exciting to see what he can do.
Yep, I agree. Hope he comes back and runs well. He's a nice horse.
4:49 Eastern, part of our coverage tomorrow. The Gander, race 9 at Aqueduct. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back. More coming up from Oaklawn when we return. They're approaching the 8-minute mark to race 7 ahead. And a look right there, Rowdy Riot, Randy Morris, Rafael Bejarano will team up.
Twirling Candy, proving Lane's End's Stallion making tradition. Twirling Candy has seen success on the track and in the sales ring, siring multiple Grade 1 winners and millionaires including Exalted, Ice Cream U-Screen, AG Bullet, and Walkathon, and reaching 7-figure yearling and 2-year-old sales. Twirling Candy, a leader of his generation.
Winding down this cross-country Pick 5. Welcome back. Race 7, Oaklawn Park. Post-parade. Good allowance race, 5.5 furlong sprint, 3- and 4-year-olds. And stick around for a very cool interview pending. First things first, post-parade. Go West, go here. Tyler Bacon looking to go back-to-back.
I think a major player here, made a huge middle move, 2 back. Tyler rode him more patiently, ran big last time.
Gambler's Tale, Julian Leperoux aboard.
Making the first start off the claim for John Ortiz. Looked amazing in the post parade.
Go Captain, Cole Battles trainer Lonnie Briley.
Lonnie Briley, great story. Go Captain has good speed with your leading rider, Christian Torres.
Perfect Magic, Quick Colt improving. Number 6, Committee of 1, 1 for 17 lifetime.
Yeah, a lot of chances. Does have some races that would put him in the frame, though, from a figure standpoint.
Red State, 4th race at as many tracks.
Always has speed. Tried turf last time, was his best effort from a speed figure standpoint.
Ricardo Santana having visited the winner's circle earlier today. A Rowdy Riot. The trip and tactical speed outside post should get that great trip.
This horse should really get the trip sitting just off the speed.
Nacho Bar to the outside, debut winner last summer at Prairie Meadows.
Yeah, 1 for 1, comes in off a series of good works. Is going to have to improve vastly from that effort, but he can, figuring going from 2 to 3 and going from 4.5 furlongs to 6.
5 minutes out, race 7. Another look at Go Captain. Leading rider Christian Torres, trained by Lonnie Briley, standing by live with Maggie.
That's right, Lafitte. And so pleased to be joined by Lonnie here and Go Captain. High energy horse that flaunts it on the racetrack. Lonnie, is he the speed of the speed in this affair?
Yes, he usually breaks pretty sharp, you know, and last time he was in the middle and the first to load and all that, and he doesn't like that. And but hopefully he'll be pretty sharp today. You know, I look to see him in front when he comes out the gates, but I don't know how long we'll stay there.
Well, I think you should have more confidence in that. Like you said, he looks to be leading them and hopefully take them all the way. But I have to ask you about the big horse of the barn, Cole Battle, the Rebel winner, Smarty Jones winner, as well as you told me had a nice little half-mile breeze a few days ago.
Yes, he breezed 49 and change and galloped out good, and just he does it all easy. You know, he takes care of himself, and after his works, he'll squeal and buck and come on home, you know, and like, ha, I done what I had to do, you know, and so he's a neat little horse, you know, he's really unique.
He really is. I loved just observing him before the Rebel. Seems very smart as well. But I know a lot of people have asked you if you're going to go to the Arkansas Derby or straight to the Kentucky Derby, as he's well earned enough points to be there. But is it kind of down to him to make that decision?
Yes, I must say he's doing good right now, and when it's time to enter, we'll see, you know, what it looks like and everything. And if he says he's ready, we'll do it. And if he says he needs another day or so, we won't do it.
Well, he has told you all the right things, and you have listened really well to Cole Battle. So best of luck with him. Well done. And also best of luck here, too.
Thank you very much. Y'all so wonderful.
Oh, thank you. I love catching up with him. As you said, Lafitte, this has been truly one of the best stories in horse racing this year.
Without question, Maggie, Lonnie Briley, we were together for the Smarty Jones. Richie, and after the race, we were saying, is this just a really good story or a really good horse that is also part of a really good story? And I think we're learning very quickly it's more the latter.
He's 5 for 5 on dirt. He's versatile. He doesn't need a race to fall a certain way. They go too slow, he can make the running. They go quick, he can come from off the pace. He finds ways to win. His only 2 defeats were on turf. And Lonnie Briley's a horseman that on the racetrack we've known for years what kind of a horseman he was. Now a horse like this puts him into a position for other people to see, you know, who he is. And I love what he just said, Lafitte. He said, we'll let the horse tell us. For years we hear things about horse whisperers. There's no such thing as a horse whisperer. There's horse listeners. And you've got to learn their language. And obviously Lonnie Briley knows what his horse tells him.
What do you say to the speed figure hawk that says, yeah, but he's not that fast?
He doesn't know that. he knows that he does what he has to. You can never blame a horse for beating who's put in front of him. And who are we to say that he's not capable of running faster if it's necessary?
Next stop, Arkansas Derby, maybe, or just on to the Kentucky Derby the first Saturday in May. Right back to Maggie.
And we take a look at this field here, guys, look, the horses that come out of that Eglise race all look fantastic, including Go Captain, Go West Go, and your current favorite, Rowdy Riot. But let's take a look at some of the question mark horses, right? The ones coming off layoffs or surface changes. And we'll begin with number 3, Gambler's Tale, as Richie rightfully pointed out how well he looked. And 2, I'm interested to see the change in blinkers, because David Jacobson is a trainer who likes to put significant pairs of blinkers on his horses, and he did so last time, and he put a full cup on him, which now he's not the fastest horse in the world to begin with, but a lot of times when you close the horse in that much, it also leads to a slow break because they don't see those doors opening as alertly as they may with less of a cup on. Well, he has less of a cup on today, and that he's got a cheater cup on. He's also gotten very sharp as the proceedings have gone on here. Definitely on his toes with the lead pony there as they approach the gate, and I think he looks fantastic. As he does come off a layoff, he looks ready mentally and physically. As we'll move on to number 6, Committee of One, as he will return to the dirt. But you look at the record that he's comprised on dirt. Well, he hasn't won on it. He's run races fast enough, most of them maybe on wet tracks, but to have a say in here, and I just thought he looked like a horse that doesn't look overly turf-meant, looks incredibly fit off a bit of a freshening, so I wouldn't completely dismiss Committee of One as he is a hefty 15-1 right now. Then there's number 7, Red State. I looked at this horse and I said, what is Mike Maker doing? And sometimes it seems like the decisions with horses are quite random, like shipping New York breds away from New York and just so on and so forth. But I'm wondering if Red State, who ran the best figure of his career so far in that turf sprint, is actually just a better horse now as a 4-year-old, and we could see it on the dirt, because he doesn't look like a turf horse. He looks incredibly well turned out here. And I think the blinker's going on too, because he didn't switch his leads in his first start, just looked a bit green. I think he deserves another shot here on a fast track, Lafitte.
See how it all unfolds. Closing out this cross country, pick 5, Matt Dinnerman standing by post-time race 7 live from Oakland on Fox Sports 2.
Nacho Bar, Cindy Murphy to the outside post. We're ready to go. And Laroff. Good beginning. Go Captain showing his customary front-running speed. Red State joins them. These two put 2 lengths on Perfect Magic and Nacho Bar. Go West go off of them in the 5th position. 5 lengths off the pace. Another length and a half to Rowdy Riot. Committee of One, second to last early. And Gambler's Tail can see them all as they go into the far turn. Go Captain strings them out, puts the pedal to the metal, and strides 2 1/4 lengths ahead. Red State and Chase Moan, Short Moraine in the 2nd position. Gap of a length and a half to Nacho Bar claiming 3rd. Perfect Magic 4th on the fence, has lost a position. Rowdy Riot joins them, has 5 lengths to make up in the final quarter mile. Coming to the top of the lane, Go Captain off the turn, hugs the rail. Red State has been in chase mode throughout. He's moving up to come in challenge as they come down the lane, and Red State breezes to the front. Go Captain had no response when Red State came up alongside. Red State putting away Go Captain in the final 16th. And now all Ricardo Santana Jr. has to do is pose for the picture here, because Red State's got it. Red State, convincing winner over Go Captain. Rowdy Riot was 3rd, and Go West Go checked in 4th.
So that's what Mike Maker was doing with Red State here. As Maggie observed, like what she saw pre-race, engages Go Captain, puts him away, and wins going away. 12-1 on the morning line, 9-2 at post-time Red State.
Yeah, he tended the very fast pace set by Go Captain. Went after him, turning for home. Go Captain had no response. Red State strode away nicely, attending that very fast pace. And Go Captain hung in gamely for 2nd after setting that extremely fast pace.
7-4-8-2 here at Oakland. Greg, all set back in New York. The nightcap on tap.
Indeed, getting set for the post parade. Thanks, Lafitte. 7/8 of a mile in this conditioned $16,000 claiming race. Again, who carries this over?
Anybody but the 3, 9, 10, 11, 12. People are wondering, the pick 5s are obviously sort of more lucrative than the pick 6. Pick 6 is a pretty small, finite pool. When you have a big price like that, it's going to blow it up. So it's no surprise, it's just a much bigger pool.
And we're in a slight holding pattern.
What's going on here?
Tractors out on the track.
You ever drive a tractor?
My son sat in one this summer at Saratoga.
Really?
It's the closest I've come.
In a future career you're seeing?
Could be.
We could use him. This year he might be ready to drive when we talk to Glenn Coates. I can put a
He's
good word.
close.
Put a good word with Glenn for that.
He's a huge fan of tractors. 5-2 favorite is the 9 right now. That's Clubhouse. As Gustavo Rodriguez looks to add another one.
He's a dreadful favorite, in my opinion. Now, obviously, he's a horse that's been running against considerably better horses in his career. But at the end of the day, what is he doing dropping this substantially, coming off a 5-month layoff and off a terrible race? And I just think he's a questionable favorite. But obviously, he has back races that can win here.
This 3, who just left our screen, Wake Surf, that race 3 starts back. If somehow he can refine that race, this race is over, isn't it?
Yes. And he's got a number of races that you could say that about. Even his last race, good enough. But he drops off the claim. Not looking to knock Matty Oliver, but 2-1 in this big field. I think there are a lot of reasons you wouldn't want to take 2-1 on this horse, but surely he can win. I'm just not somebody who wants to pick him.
Big price inside with my cool hand Luke.
Well, one of the all-time greatest movies. I think if you're going to name a horse, Michael and Luke, shouldn't he be like a stakes horse?
Probably should be a
stakes horse movie.
Indian Quest, Jackie Davis.
Well, if he runs his last 2 buyer figures combined, I think he could be competitive here.
Blinkers coming off. He has not run great of late. Here's Wake Surf at 2-1.
He's
favorite.
As you say, he's got plenty of races to beat this field. Maybe even his last race.
Dad's good runners taking some money.
Yeah, I don't really get him, but he will be forward in here.
King Cali has been off since January 4th.
Got that big Figgett Finger Lakes 2 back. Otherwise, he's too slow.
Masterwork, another big price.
Was involved in the pace that kind of came apart trying to go a mile last time. He cuts back in distance a little bit.
Blinkers coming off because the night, this long shot for Marcelo Arenas.
Yeah, I just doesn't seem like he's contentious here, the 10-pound bug rider.
Clubhouse, 5-2. He's the second choice on the board. Eric Cancel, his 5-year-old debut.
Listen, he's another one that's got plenty of races making competitive here, but I think there have to be some real question marks. Horse runs the end of April last year. Then he's off for 6 months. He comes back. He's virtually eased, and now he comes back 5 months later, dropping down to a bottom level. Is this the kind of horse you want to take a short price on?
Yeah, we're in agreement. All these horses look like players. Beachwalker would buy Lane Luzzy.
Yeah, he's a multiple winner, and I think he's dangerous.
Active Duty, another player.
Well, off the claim for a trainer who's done nothing but move horses up, has to be dangerous.
And Perfect Flight. This is a big number.
It's crazy. This horse is 9-1. This horse got a bit of a ridiculous trip last time out. 2 back, ran well enough to be competitive. I think this horse is a major player at too big a price.
A look at Active Duty here. Again, that name, Stephen Schauer, new recently to training, former owner, who's had just a terrific start. And just claim this one off of Rob Atras.
And listen, he's going to have to probably improve him to get it done. But are you going to be shocked when he does it, the way this trainer's horse has been running? I expect him to improve. And I just think he's a super logical horse, and cutting back in distance will only help him. I would rather take his recency than a horse like the 9 off that kind of layoff. And the 3 can win as well, but I prefer him. I'm alive in doubles in the 10 and 12 because they're good prices. But I bet exactas. I made a small box of 2 of them just in case they should run 1-2, but I used them behind the 3 and 11.
He's an interesting horse because he started out 0 for 17, but he pretty consistently was running the same type of race, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That was competitive.
Yeah, he's just found his recent form, and he did it for Rob Atras. Not an easy guy to claim from, but the way this trainer's horse has been running, I'm not going to be surprised when he steps up and runs a winning race here.
3-1 right now. Active Duty, Romero, Mirage, Pauly on board as this horse looks to win for the 3rd time in his last 4 starts.
Yeah, and I'm in agreement with Andy. I like this horse, and I was able to talk to the trainer, Stephen Schauer, and I was asking him how many horses does he have in his barn, and he basically said, well, 4 now because one of my horses got claimed earlier in the card. And I look at the 11 in here, I see a horse, like Andy says, in form. So you're looking at other horses in here like the 9 that you're kind of reaching. Does he get back to where he was? It remains to be seen. Now, the Gustavo Rodriguez runner ran so great in the last race, the 9-year-old running Ray. And then you have the 3 in here at 2-1 with Matty Oliver, who just shocked the world at 48-1. So do you really want to take that price? So, the 11 in here I thought was a solid horse, especially for this group, just because the horse has got wins in in 2025, which is key. The other horse in here, Andy and I had the same horses, the 11, 12. The only worry I have with the 12, Greg, 0 for 14 in the last 2 years and 0 for 9 over the racetrack. I think that's why this horse is 9-1. But if he can get back to some of his other races, I do like 11, 12 here. I think the 11 at 3-1 might be a little short, but I'm just going to take the horse that's in really good form right now.
All right, Paulie, thank you. See how this nightcap plays out as they begin to load. 2-1 favorite, still the 3. Wake Surf. As, the pick 6, the 1, 2,
1, 2,
4 through 7.
Yeah. It's very odd that all 5 major contenders are covered in here. It's very surprising. I could see maybe the 3, but I'm very surprised. I would have bet against that. Surprising. Weird. But it has been very logical, besides that horse, to be fair. Very logical.
10 steps in under Lane Luzzy, Rudy Rodriguez. Active Duty for this new face on the scene, and he has made quite a statement, Steven Schauer, with his limited runners. Nightcap from Aqueduct on this Friday card. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
Side. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Speed from in between horses. Here comes Clubhouse, who emerges with the front, and Clubhouse is the clear leader. Just in behind Clubhouse, who crosses over his Masterwork, and they are tightly bunched inside the leader, who's up by a length. Working through the field was King Kali, is going to hold that rail position. Very tight will be My Cool Hand Luke, is back to fourth. As moving forward to take third, that was Masterwork. Far outside is Perfect Flight. Orange Cap in between horses. Dad's Good Runner is weaving through. Has now picked up a spot, is going to be a close-up fourth. Losing some ground there came Active Duty, who's now dropping back through the field, just got past to the inside by Wake Surf, and Because the Night. The two at the back, that's Beach Walker with Indian Quest. They're working at the far turn, 23.59 for the opening quarter mile, and Clubhouse is doing it nicely. Clubhouse is chased by Masterwork. Then comes Dad's Good Runner, is down towards the inside, is losing ground as King Kali. Outwider Perfect Flight is trying to challenge, but Clubhouse is in hand, is just cruising right along, has a quarter mile left to go, and they're going to have to pick it up to get to Clubhouse. Clubhouse starts to sprint away, and Clubhouse is up by 3. Masterwork hasn't given up the chase, as Clubhouse did not put him away yet. It's Clubhouse who's in front. Masterwork is 46-1. Clubhouse, Masterwork down to these two, approaching a final 16th. Clubhouse is almost there. Masterwork continues to chase. Clubhouse will have just enough, and Clubhouse wins the finale. Clubhouse over Masterwork then came. Because the Night in a photo from far out of it, that was Active Duty in 1 minute 27.20 seconds.
Clubhouse with the victory to close out this Friday card. For a moment, it looked like this 46-1 shot had the best momentum, though, and might run him down. Did not happen.
I agree. Masterwork looked like he had a shot to run him down as he ran a good race today, but Clubhouse, they knew. He was ready off the layoff, and he got bet like it, and he ran back to some of his better races. Went right to the front. He did project to be the speed, but this guy, he was ready off the layoff on the big drop down. Not my cup of tea, but the money was right. The 3 was a complete and total no-show. The 12 made a little bit of run for tiring, and the 10 was way, way too far back early. Did finish about 5th in there, but this horse was just sort of a winner the whole way.
Easier company.
Yeah, but still, not for me at those kind of prices coming off those long layoffs. I think the 12 did get 4th to close out the
5-2 over 46-1 over 43-1. Because the Night, the 7 checks in third. 9, 6, 7, 11.
So basically, fans of the song Because the Night could have hit this try, is what you're saying. Apparently written by Bruce Springsteen. This might be the moment, the first moment in my entire lifetime that Mitch Levitas, our director, has done something useful.
So you knew the song, but you didn't know who wrote it?
I didn't know. Do you know Springsteen wrote it?
I didn't know. I don't know the song.
Patti Smith, Because the Night belongs to lovers. You know that song? Really?
Can you sing it for me?
No, I'm not. I'd get Claude to sing
I tried. 9, 6, 7, 11. Eric Cancel and Gustavo Rodriguez for Jupiter Stable to close out this Friday card here in New York. Plenty more to come, including the feature from Hot Springs. Do not go away. Bring you these prices when we come back. Show you the payoff in the Pick 5, Pick 6 as well. Free Like a Girl. She's been a terrific story. And she'll be going against the horse of the year in the Grade 2 Azeri. She's had some terrific moments for Chazzy Pommier. See if she can do it again. Julian Leperoux will have the mount. Stay with us.
At the Keeneland September yearling sale, the premier thoroughbred auction venue in the world, Mandy Pope of Whisper Hill Farm signed the ticket on the $5 million sale topper by Curlin, bred by Stone Street Thoroughbred Holdings. He was one of $5 million plus yearlings by Curlin to sell. No fewer than 55 of his yearlings fell to the auction gavel, averaging nearly $600,000, making Curlin the #1 sire of yearlings in 2024. Curlin, the classic sire.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NyraBets.com.
Here comes that big gray Tappet Trice right down the outside.
Tappet Trice wins the Toyota Bluegrass. Tappet Trice's 2024 debut was awesome.
Tappet Trice is lunging. Tappet Trice wins the Woodward.
Selling the best. Fasig-Tipton graduates won more Eclipse Awards in 2024 than any other sale company. Thorpedo Anna, Moira, National Treasure, Sierra Leone, Soul of an Angel, Straight No Chaser. Fasig-Tipton, eclipsing the competition.
So glad you could join us on this Friday afternoon. Picture perfect early March afternoon in Hot Springs. This is America's Day at the Races, as always, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Race 7 in the books. Wrapping up the cross-country pick 5, second win on the afternoon. Ricardo Santana, Richie. Red State for Mike Maker. 2 for 4 overall now for this lightly raced 4-year-old. How do you do it?
He was just attending a very fast pace set by Go Captain. He pounced. He looked good. Mike Maker, another trainer, got off to a little bit of a slow start by his standards here at Oaklawn Park, but his horses have really started to show up and compete and run. His horses always look good, too, Lafitte. Look at the size, the strapping horse this is here, the way he finished.
With authority and conviction by 3.5 in the end, and the handicappers clued in on this one. 12-1 on the morning line, 9-2 at post time, 11.80 for the win.
Yeah, I tell you what, one thing, it's like New York. The handicappers are sharp. People are definitely clued in to what's going on, and Red State gets it done. Ricardo Santana Jr.'s second win of the day. 2
wins, Ricardo. Red State, 7-4-8. The cross-country pick 5. Nobody had 5. 4 of 5, paying $516.75. Just over $516 for the cross-country pick 5 for those of you who had 4 of 5. Moving right along. And the America's Best Racing's race of the week. Tomorrow's Grade 2 Azeri. 39th running, final local prep for the Apple Blossom, Oaklawn's most prestigious race for older fillies and mares. All eyes on Thorpedo Anna. The champ is back 2-5 on the morning line. But take a look at number 6, Free Like a Girl, 15-1 on the morning line. There are so many different reasons to root for a racehorse. Maybe it's just a $2 wager. Maybe you want to see greatness, i.e. Thorpedo Anna in tomorrow's Grade 2 Azeri in her comeback. And then once in a while you come across a story like this of mother and daughter taking an unexpected journey with an underestimated racehorse.
We had her older brother. We broke and trained him. We actually broke the track record going 2.5 with him in Louisiana. So when it came time for her the next year to come up to the yearling sale, we went and looked at her, and we kind of knew we wanted to get her. We liked her brother. Budget was like $5,000. We got the $5,000 on the bid. We didn't have the bid. We were the underbidder, and Dad looks at me and goes, well, you know, she shows up to be something one day, you'll kick yourself. Offer $55, go from there. Dad and the other partner were already partners, so we were trying to figure out if we wanted a piece or not. And my daughter had a show pony that the original owner, Mr. Bruno, had given her. It was absolutely amazing. She was making him a jumper, and he colicked on us. We did surgery, and so Mr. Gerald, being who he is, and he's been a family friend, offered her $1,000 or a piece of the filly, and my kid, being game as she is, wanted the piece of the filly, and she's been along for the ride ever since.
She's my first racehorse, and I technically have another one, but she's like my heart one, because I saw her and just instantly fell in love. Watching her race is really cool, but I get really nervous, because when she's in the gate, I hold my breath, and then when she gets out, I like finally breathe, and in the home stretch, I'm like just trying not to just faint, because I'm not holding my breath at all. she's just amazing.
Free like a girl trying to tag her, free like a girl, all racehorse.
She is the queen of the barn. I mean, she's been a blessing, amazing. She's definitely routine-based, and she just loves her job. And we love watching her just because she goes out there every day and does what she wants to do and loves it.
Such a great story, that journey, mother and daughter, and Free Like a Girl, who Grade 1 placed in the La Troyenne, third in last year's Grade 1 Apple Blossom, and watching their reaction, it was as if they had won those races.
Well, because she shows up and gives them that effort, and she's bringing home big chunks of the purse anyway. She's getting her share of it. You think about the long, storied history of racing in Louisiana. How many great horse people, trainers, how many great jockeys, how many great horses. You go back to Black Gold, 1924, winning the Kentucky Derby, and she stands alone as the all-time money leader. That's incredible, the chapter she wrote into the history of Louisiana racing.
Takes on Thorpedo Anna tomorrow in the Azeri. It sounds like 2 more starts, Free Like a Girl, the Azeri, and then maybe the Apple Blossom. Andy, a story like that can even conjure the sentimental racing fan we all know you truly are.
It's funny, I was just saying to Greg, even I like that story. I think it's a great story. And she's a cool horse. And you were saying how she's now the leading Louisiana bred winner over Happy Ticket. Over Happy Ticket, it was a tremendous. Now, the purses have gone up a bit, but she's a really neat horse. I was actually sad when she didn't win her last race. I was rooting for her down the stretch.
Grade 1 placed, multiple stakes winner. Just what a story. 21 career wins as well. This is the Bayakoa. Last time out when she just missed against one she'll line up against again. Wild About Hillary, who's been very good using her speed.
Wild About Hillary, I think, more than doubled her career earnings with the win in this race. And, I mean, that was kind of a cool story as well. The favorite, a real no-show in this race, I think got left badly, or one of the choices. It's hard not to like this horse. The problem is, even if the favorite doesn't show up in here.
Who's the horse of the year? Thorpedo Anna.
Yeah, she's pretty good, Thorpedo Anna. But even if she doesn't show up, Alpine Princess, Jody's Pride, other horses in here are better horses. I think Jody's Pride, Greg, is a very interesting horse in here, and I love the fact that Jorge Abreu shipped down here.
You know, and there is a question. This is her comeback race as a 4-year-old. And some say, well, you know, don't know how Thorpedo Anna is going to come back. Is she going to be better? Maybe she won't. Jody's Pride looks like she has come back better as a 4-year-old.
And you know, she really didn't have much of a 3-year-old season. So, judging by this race where she got a 95 buyer and ran against 2 very nice horses, she might be back to good form. We know she can run well going long. Maybe the worst she does is run second or third here, and if Thorpedo Anna doesn't show up, she could win.
Well, top 2 finishers returning out of the Houston Ladies Classic Grade 3 at Sam Houston, January 25th. Recharge won it. Alpine Princess was beat as the 3-5 choice, just missed by a neck.
I'm a little upset we're not playing the call when my friend Nick Tamaro is calling the races. This came up a good race. I mean, they got good figures. You know, Recharge was a bit of a surprise, and I think it's going to have to deal with the speed of Wild About Hillary in here, right? And Alpine Princess is the more sort of accomplished horse. If Jody's Pride runs her good race, she's faster than these horses, and I'm going to be rooting for the New York-based horse Jody's Pride. Listen, we all want to see Thorpedo Anna run a big race. We want the stars in the sport to do well, and she is absolutely a big star in the sport. But I don't think it's unfair as a horse player to be a little bit concerned that she doesn't come back and she isn't quite as good or competitive. Sometimes they just aren't, fillies and mares, when they come back 4 or 5-year-old seasons. If she is, she's going to beat these horses. She is too good for them. But if she isn't, I think a horse like Jody's Pride has a chance to pull the upset.
Be fun to see what happens. Grade 2 Azeri, mile and a 16th, $400,000 purse, and the reigning horse of the year, Thorpedo Anna, making her 2025 debut. Live onside coverage with that crew, left-hand side of your screen, and we'll also have that Derby prep, Tampa Bay Derby, featuring 2-time Grade 1 winner Chancellor McPatrick back in action, trying to prove he is Derby worthy for Chad Brown in his return. Going to be a fun Saturday afternoon. Eric Cancel, Gustavo Rodriguez, they close things out here on our card at Aqueduct with Clubhouse as this horse wins his 5-year-old return.
And I believe that those are back-to-back wins for Gustavo Rodriguez, who had the big win with Runnin' Ray as well. Listen, this horse is not my cup of tea. Third start in basically a year, dropping off a cliff. But if he was, he's races that are better, and you got 740.
Pick 5.
Just had to get one tough horse in there.
More to come, including the feature from Oaklawn. This is Northern Chill. Ran a very big effort in his 4-year-old return last time out. Can he do it one better and get a win in this non-winners at 2 condition coming up?
Hall of Fame trainer Steve Asmussen said, Gun Pilot is an absolute beast. He has a lot of gun runners' great traits. He is a bigger and stronger version and was extremely talented. His easy Grade 1 win in the 7-furlong Churchill Downs Stakes proved everything I knew.
The gold, but it's Gun Pilot and Christian Torres.
Gun Pilot is Gun Runner's only son to retire to stud this year. New to 3 Chimneys.
A gorgeous shot, bird's eye view, Oaklawn Park. Welcome back. America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2, brought to you in part by Gainesway, power, passion, performance. Gearing up for this 8th race, $50,000 claimers, non-winners to lifetime sprint, $62,000 purse. Post-parade just moments ago, Devilish Desire, the favorite at 9-5. Will make the turn. And we'll start with Copper Storm, number 1, Eric Asmussen. Blinkers on, Oaklawn debut.
Yeah, added the blinkers coming in from Houston. Steve's got a bunch of horses there as well. He's got horses everywhere, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Global Legend, 3-year-old debut.
Making a nice appearance from Mark Cassie, coming back sprinting. He did break his maiden going 4.5.
Northern Chili likes to mix it up. Northern Chill likes to mix it up early.
Yeah, and I think he could be the main speed here. I don't see a tremendous amount of speed for an Oaklawn Park sprint.
Big Scratch, Miracle Worker, then Devilish Desire, the favorite.
Yeah, who was just in front of Northern Chill last time, but a more contested pace maybe.
Gold Sweep. Long working relationship, owner Mike McCarty, trainer Steve Asmussen.
First time ever in for a tag for a horse who showed a lot of promise as a 2-year-old.
Big producer, finally, Tyler Bacon takes over.
Yeah, he's just going to have to find a race a little bit faster than we've seen from this horse previously.
4 minutes out, 8 of 10 here at Oaklawn Park. Circle back to Devilish Desire. Ricardo Santana looking for a third win this afternoon. His most recent, facing similar mid-February right here. A solid second-place finish.
Yeah, and he's got his opportunity. He's poised on the outside. He's rallying down the center of the track. And I'm looking for the breastplate of Northern Chill. That's him on the inside with the pink cap. And the horse on the outside sweeps by both of them, and Devilish Desire stays on resolutely. But the one horse, Northern Chill, that day he was the one horse, took all the heat. I think he gets loose today, and I think he could turn the tables on Devilish Desire.
To Maggie, trackside 3 minutes out.
And guys, the two favorites that we just watched in that replay there, Northern Chill and Devilish Desire, they look great. I have no problems with them. But I'm going to take a look at the 2 for the Steve Asmussen barn, starting with number 1, Copper Storm in here, whom comes out of a race at Sam Houston in which he broke slow. He was kind of kept wide by Stuart Elliott that day. And when he tried to launch a rally down the stretch, there was a horse to his outside that he would ultimately outfinish. But Stuart Elliott had such a hard time trying to implore Copper Storm to go forward because all he wanted to do was look at that horse to his outside. So I think putting the blinkers on is a really smart move here for a horse that seems as though he might be easily intimidated by other runners. Now, let's hope they solve that problem, having to now break from the inside today. Otherwise, looks fantastic as Eric Asmussen picks up the ride. Number 6, Gold Sweet. Once upon a time, this horse showed so much promise as a 2-year-old, but I think he is possibly one of those horses that he was so much better than his competition early on as a 2-year-old, and everybody else caught up and grew up and have now surpassed him. So this is a logical drop for a horse that physically shows that as well. He hasn't changed much from 2 to 3 and now 3 to 4. He does look fit coming back here, having not raced since mid-December. And 2, I think it's confirmed that this horse does not particularly like a wet track. So at least he gets to come back on a dry one today. We'll see if the drop in class suits him. As speaking of horses that are making that appearance from one year to the next, that's the case for number 2, Global Legend. I saw him in his second start for the Saratoga Special as a 2-year-old, but I think it's important to point out that he's having to face older rivals, not just other fellow 3-year-olds, older rivals. And it's something that I feel like is somewhat unique here to Oaklawn Park, and that the purses are so big, so they want to fill these races and have big fields that I feel like sometimes these 3-year-olds are forced into races that contain these horses that are just naturally bigger and faster than them. But I will say this about Global Legend. He does stack up well. He has grown. He has lengthened his frame. He's also really sharp for this turn back, and physically he looks like a horse that wants to sprint. So I'm not in love with the fact that he has to take on older rivals, but I do like him in this spot given the turn back here, Lafitte.
See how he fares against the older, more experienced types. Global Legend, 5-1. Christian Torres aboard, circling back Richie to Gold Sweep, who looked like he could be like any kind when we first started following him.
When he broke his maiden in the Tremont Stakes, he looked like the next coming of Hindu. I mean, he was as impressive as a 2-year-old could be. And like Maggie said, maybe he was just that much more mature, that much more precocious than everybody. I think this is the easiest spot he landed in. Now, that day in the Tremont, it was a 6-horse field. Today, he gets a 6-horse field. He sat third just off the speed, and then he fired big. I think he's going to get a very similar trip that he got as a 2-year-old in the Tremont, and I just think this is an easier group. I do think he'll run well here.
5-1 Gold Sweep. Number 3, Northern Chill. And you mentioned some of the heavy lifting he had to do in that most recent race that we watched.
I think there's a really good possibility that the 3 Northern Chill gets loose here. You can see he's fitted with that breastplate. That's an apparatus to keep the saddle in place. It's usually for horses where the saddle will slide back. Usually horses with higher or thinner withers or saddle tend to slide back. The breastplate is right there. You can see the equipment being used. If he gets loose, they're going to have a hard time running him down because he took all the heat. He was in the battle, and he hung around tenaciously last time.
It's what he does. He likes to mix it up early.
Yeah, he does. Hey, listen, some horses like a fight. right?
Yeah,
They like
likes to fight guy.
a barroom brawl.
Let's see what he does today, Northern Chill. At 3-1, 8-5, Devilish Desire. Ricardo Santana looking for a third on the afternoon. Post time for the 8th, Oaklawn Park live on Fox Sports 2.
Northern Chill goes in. Devilish Desire, post position number 5. Gold Sweep, post 6. Into the outside post, Big Producer to round out the field. Here's Big Producer. Waiting for Big Producer. Go again. We're ready to go. And we're off. Northern Chill wins the start, takes advantage of it. Strides clear, 2 lengths early. Devilish Desire hustled along to keep up in the second spot with Gold Sweep to the outside. Big Producer on the outside of horses, 2.5 lengths off the lead with Global Legend and Copper Storm to the inside. And now 4 runners line up 2 lengths off the leader, Northern Chill, who's a half length in front of Gold Sweep, who's the presser. But as I say that, Northern Chill opens up the lead to a little less than a length here. Gold Sweep still in chase mode, second going into the far turn. Copper Storm makes his way into third clearly. Global Legend shaken up between horses here. And even deeper is Big Producer. Devilish Desire sent along 3 wide. He's in with a shot. All 6 runners could win it as they round the far turn and hit the quarter pole. Northern Chill the leader by a neck. Gold Sweep, they're on the attack on the outside. And these two swing off the turn together. Northern Chill hugs the rail. Outside Gold Sweep trying, but he's second. Devilish Desire is in third, plotting in place, losing that spot to Copper Storm. Furlong to go. And Northern Chill is showing no signs of stopping here. Northern Chill opening up the lead. In fact, he's put away Gold Sweep and the rest. Northern Chill to win it here in gate-to-wire style. Gold Sweep was second, Copper Storm third, and Global Legend checks in fourth. Big Producer fifth, and Devilish Desire trailed the field home.
Strong on the gallop out, broke like a rocket, never looked back. Northern Chill, 2-1 at post time, rolls in the 8th of 10 at Oaklawn. Wow.
Very impressive. And in a day where we've seen most of the sprint races run sub 22 first quarter of a mile, he got to go 22-2 and had plenty left to storm down through the wire in 109-3. He stopped the clock. This was a very impressive performance, and it was an improved effort from the number 6 Gold Sweep, but no match for a horse that projected to get loose on the lead and did.
First win of the meet for trainer Jordan Blair.
By the way this horse won, that's a nice way to do it. Break your maiden in style.
Yeah, by several. Yeah, very, very sharp Oaklawn handicapper just told me, watch that early money. Really good indication. Really, that early money that comes in. He was even money early on, was the winner.
Wow. I mean, he drifted, and then he went up ultimately 2-1. But, you know, it was just a race where it looked like there wasn't as much speed as you usually get signed on in an Oaklawn Park sprint. And when he got as comfortable as he did, it was Katie bar the door.
Easy win going away, cruising under the wire here in the 8th race, Oaklawn Park. Those prices forthcoming. Plus, back where it all started last year, Thorpedo Anna, highly decorated 3-year-old filly champ, returns tomorrow in the Azeri.
They're coming down for the finish, and it is Silver State.
50-60, 250-60, now 60, 260 mark, 260,000.
Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Clayburn Farm.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got them. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NyraBets.com.
Introducing Peace and Justice, new to New York in 2025. A proven sire with over 200 wins, 16% wins per starts, and one of only 2 New York-based stallions to have a graded stakes winner at Saratoga in 2024. Now, with 3 different racing surfaces coming to New York, and with New York breds running for equal purses as open company, Peace and Justice is the sure choice for 2025. Peace and Justice, now standing at Irish Hill and Duchess View Stallions in New York.
Welcome back. America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2 is always brought to you in part by Nyra Bets. Running track anywhere, anytime, visit NyraBets.com. The stroll from your hotel room through the elevator, the casino, doors open, and voila! You're in the paddock at Oaklawn Park. It's so cool.
Pretty easy commute, and if you want, you can
look at that.
Veer off and hit Big Al's Diner there on the second floor before you go into the casino. Not a bad spot.
How much Big Al paying you? A lot of Big Al love.
Well, I got to be honest, Lafitte, I ate a lot of Big Al when I was staying in the hotel here.
How about Northern Chill? He ate today. Broke sharp, never looked back. We talked about how he likes to mix it up, likes to fight. He didn't have to do any of that. He was clear and ran this field off their feet, though challenged at the top of the stretch for a few strides.
Yeah, he got a bit of a challenge there, but his rider, Martin Schwann, was really still just kind of giving him a breather, allowing him. And for a horse that's got a lot of length to him, a lot of size and scope, he is fast, and he just lengthened the way. This was a nice effort, but shows you when you don't have to fight someone off the entirety of the turn, how much you have left in the straightaway.
Impressive 6:20 Northern Chill over Gold Sweep. Copper Storm 3-6-1 in the 8th at Oaklawn Park. Turning the page, Friday feature. Good one. $50,000 allowance, optional claimer. Fillies and mares, mile and a 16th. Miss Hebrides, 9-5 for Kenny McPeak. Could be a rather productive weekend here for Kenny McPeak at Oaklawn.
Yeah, listen, Kenny's been having a terrific Oaklawn Park stand, and Miss Hebrides makes a lot of sense here. And Julian Leperoux has been his go-to rider here at the Oaklawn meeting. Of course, he's bringing in Brian Hernandez for his partnership with the Horse of the Year, Thorpedo Anna.
Yeah, much more on Thorpedo Anna naturally. Tomorrow her return in the Azeri. And the stakes activity, coast to coast, not just here at Oaklawn Park, Aqueduct, the Gander, and the Tampa's signature day of thoroughbred racing.
A great day of racing at Tampa as well. You got the Hillsborough on the turf. Great turf course at Tampa Bay Downs, like a billiard table. The Florida Oaks now also on the turf, used to be on the dirt. And the Tampa Bay Derby, it has really become a productive Derby prep.
Greg and Andy, you touched on the Tampa Bay Derby earlier. The Florida Oaks, what are you looking for in that one? How do you see that one unfolding?
Here's a look at the 3-year-old fillies that will line up on the turf, mile and a 16th, and Mark Casse, he will send out Nitrogen in her 3-year-old debut. She got off to a pretty good start with the stakes win.
This is a terrific race. I think she would be an overlay if she were 5-2 in here. She's been very, very good. I mean, listen, she ran 3rd in the Breeders' Cup, I want to say, in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. And watch her in this race. Jose Ortiz, she's in the Red Silks. It's like he just knew, just give me an opening at some point and I'm going to win. He didn't want to get caught wide in the turn. He kind of tucked her in a little bit. He's kind of riding her along here. And look at how she explodes when she gets that daylight. And you'll notice that Jose's never using the crop, right? He's just hand riding her to win. And I'm not saying, I don't mean this to compare her to Lady Eli, but it kind of reminded me of a race for Eli when she got caught in traffic and she didn't get out till too late. And they were just sort of hand rode her by everybody. And I'm not suggesting she's anywhere near as good as Lady Eli at this point, but she looks to me like a very, very good horse. And this is not an easy field.
Confident ride there, yeah, from Jose Ortiz. He'll be back aboard on Saturday. Meanwhile, Opulent Restraint, back-to-back wins for trainer Chad Brown as she gets set for her 3-year-old return.
Chad Brown has been high on this horse for a long, long time. I remember going to his barn after the Belmont Stakes Festival and him showing, she was walking around, he was looking at a lot of 2-year-olds and saying how he was really excited about her. And she's been good. How good she is remains to be seen. She has gotten very good trips in her races, and I kind of wonder if she's a horse that ultimately they're going to look to be aggressive with, and maybe even though the horse inside of her has shown more speed, she might be a little bit forward in this race. Can she improve as a 3-year-old? If she does, she has a chance to be competitive with Nitrogen.
Flavien Prat will be aboard for the 3-year-old return. It's a very interesting race. Yeah, you mentioned the speed inside. That's Lush Lip. She's put together back-to-back wins, one on synthetic, but then one on turf, where she moved forward quite a bit.
No, I agree. She's a nice horse for Brennan Walsh. I think she's a big player. There are others in here. Brilliant, or whatever, the horse that Chad Brown got from Europe. She was impressive winning. And I think there's a maiden, Love You Anyway, that our friend Rajiv Mirage is riding. And this horse had finished 3rd in her debut. And the horse who finished 2nd is going to, Celtic Motif, is going to take much more money than her. I suggest people watch the replay of that maiden race at Gulfstream, because I think that Love You Anyway ran very well in there. I don't know that she's good enough as a maiden or second start to be competitive here, but I'm going to try to get her in the exacta or try.
Celtic Motif group placed back as a 2-year-old.
Watch the replay of that race, and I'm happy to have you disagree with me, but I think that she ran the better race, even though she finished behind that one.
That is coming up tomorrow. Terrific card at Tampa. Derby prep as well. Horse of the Year also coming back in Hot Springs. That is Thorpedo Anna. And there is her namesake, pretty fast in her own right in the swimming pool. And now, her namesake making history and coming back for more in 2025 with that debut coming up Saturday in the Azeri.
Be a part of history and reserve your place at the all-new Belmont Park. Secure your priority deposit today for an exclusive selection of hospitality offerings, from luxury suites to premium lounges with breathtaking racetrack and paddock views. The new Belmont Park will feature modern amenities, delivering the perfect blend of tradition and innovation alongside world-class racing. Don't miss your chance to experience tradition reimagined. Visit newbelmont.com today and claim your spot.
Welcome back. Stellar afternoon. here at Oaklawn Park, America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. 2 more races today, and did we mention tomorrow? The Horse of the Year returns in Thorpedo Anna. Yeah, sure, now she's a whole household name. That's what happens when you pile up Grade 1 wins, when you capture a championship, when you're crowned Horse of the Year. But there was a time not that long ago that none of us knew where her name came from or how it came to be.
I swim year-round, and I have been swimming since I was 5 years old. My coach, he started calling me Thorpedo because Ian Thorpe, who was a famous swimmer, had the same last name, and they called him Thorpedo, so he thought it was a good idea to call me Thorpedo too.
Ryan Hernandez and Thorpedo Anna dominate the 150th Kentucky Oaks.
I knew Kenny was at the sale, so I called him up and said, Kenny, you got any horses that you bought today? And he said, I've got 20% of a Fast Anna filly. And so I said, Anna, I can work with that. I said, I'll take her if I can name her. And he thought for all of about half a second and said, okay. And so then I tossed it to Anna and said, you got to come up with a name. And she mulled around with it for a few weeks and said, I can't come up with anything, you name her. Her mother thought it should be Anna's Attitude.
She never told me that.
Yeah. I said, well, why don't we go with Thorpedo Anna? I like that one better.
But it's all Thorpedo Anna. The leader of the division is simply spectacular.
It's much more fun watching Anna swim. You know, I have a more of a vested interest in her. But it's more lucrative when Thorpedo Anna wins.
It's a good part of it.
Yeah, it is a good part of it.
I'm like pretty excited for most of the day up until about like 30 minutes before I start to get really nervous and my stomach starts to hurt, and I don't know, I just get really nervous, and I don't know why, because I always know that she's going to win, but still get nervous for it.
But I'm like her, I'm always confident when she runs, but it's a horse race. I mean, you know, you don't know what's going to happen. And some other horse might step up his game that day. But it's always nervous, but confident.
But this brilliant filly's going to take them all the way. Thorpedo Anna, what a year for her.
I never expected that it would go this far. I think it's really cool, like just to be a part of it is cool, and then to watch her run and win by how much she wins by.
Yeah, it's been great. Exceeded every expectation I ever had when I started doing this stuff. I wouldn't say it's a dream come true, but it doesn't suck.
Horse of the Year probably doesn't suck. What a great story there. With grandfather, granddaughter, and this ride for Anna Thorpe to watch her namesake do what she has done over the last calendar year.
You love how a horse brings family together, friends together. We can all rally around a world-class racehorse, right?
It definitely does not suck. Thorpedo Anna back here tomorrow. The season last year, she was 6 of 7, 52 opponents faced, 51 opponents defeated. The 5 Grade 1 victories. It took a champion to defeat this eventual champion in Horse of the Year.
And if you go back through the fillies trying the Travers over the years, some great fillies have tried and did not run nearly as well as Thorpedo Anna. It's so close. And listen, we have to be objective. We have to stay as neutral as possible. I will say I was rooting for her because it's just such a great story. And when a girl takes on the boys, takes on that challenge and almost pulls it off, she ran so good, actually too good to lose.
For our viewers at home, is there anything, what will you be looking for pre-race that may indicate, okay, that's the same Thorpedo Anna we watched last year?
Well, last year in her debut here at Oaklawn Park, her 3-year-old debut, she got pretty revved up, pretty hot, which is not out of character for her. That's something that we'll keep an eye on. Maggie's got a really great handle on that simmering point. Do they boil over? I don't anticipate that. She looked very settled today, galloping here. And talking with Ray Bryson, Kenny McPeak's assistant here at Oaklawn, he says she seems to be happier, more settled here at Oaklawn than any other racetrack.
That versatility, she can adapt to any race shape, and I think that's part of what made Rachel Alexandra so incredibly dominant, is that she did have that speed. If you gave it to her, she was going to take it. You never get it back. If you ran with her, just like she did in the Preakness, right? And she'll run you into the ground and still have something left, where Thorpedo Anna can do a little bit of the same.
Yeah, she creates her own trip. She has natural speed with that inside post. You would expect Brian Hernandez to allow her to run to the first turn. So if somebody really wants to take her on, at least it creates separation, and that gives the rider options. Then he can, okay, you go on a little bit, I could tip out to the outside. The last thing you want to do, particularly on the reigning horse of the year, a champion returning, is get in a position where they don't get to use their stride. And Brian Hernandez has proven to be a big race rider.
Her 3-year-old campaign started right here, Oaklawn Park, in the Fantasy last season. Same for her 4-year-old campaign tomorrow in the Azeri. We'll have it for you right here on Fox Sports 2. But for trainer Kenny McPeak, he has work to tend to. There he is, Whitecap. He has Miss Hebrides going in the Friday feature at Oaklawn Park. 2-1, the current favorite, in the 9th of 10 in Hot Springs.
And here's Tama in the final stages. The Santa Anita Derby goes to Tama. It's Tama, absolutely terrific, winning Malibu by 4 widening lengths.
Nominate now for this year's Fasig-Tipton Selected Yearling Sales. The July sale, with a focus on precocious and athletic yearlings, July produces strong results in the sales ring and on the racetrack. Last year's sale produced the highest median in the sales history, with 46% of yearlings sold, bringing $100,000 or more. The 104th Saratoga sale, the crown jewel of American yearling sales, Saratoga smashed every record in its 103-year history, led by a $3.4 million sale topper. Saratoga also produces the highest percentage of Grade 1 winners of any North American yearling sale, led by recent Breeders' Cup Classic winner Sierra Leone. New York bred yearlings, the leading marketplace for New York breds, held during the Saratoga race meet. Last year's sale set the highest median in the sales history. Selected sales, superior results. Visit selectedyearlings.fasigtipton.com to nominate now for our 2025 Selected Yearling Sales.
Say hello to Move. It's a one-horse race, very professional and very fast. Move, rolling home by 4 in fine style.
Moose, the son of good magic, coming down the stretch in Hot Springs to win it.
Back with you on our Friday coverage of America's Day at the Races, brought to you by Hillendale at Alapa. Race 9, 12 minutes away out in Hot Springs, 6 furlong sprint, entry-level allowance race. And Tom Amos, September fans, gonna like the one here with Rafael Bejarano.
Well, I mean, I think the key to this race is there is a reasonable amount of speed signed on. Any of the 4, 6, and 7 can be pretty forward. Now, Miss Hebrides, who is the horse to beat in the 3, she's fast too, but she can probably rate off them. The question is she going to rate? Because she, she was forced to rate last time, and it didn't work out. So I wonder a little bit if she's a horse that really does her best running on the front end. Now, she rated when she broke her maiden in a weird off-the-turf race at Saratoga. But last time I thought was a bit disappointing. Fast pace, made a big run at it, and just sort of fell apart. And if you're the 1 or the 9, who I believe are the 2 biggest threats to her, you're kind of hoping she's not as effective rated, because she is the horse to beat.
She is, no question. 9-5 choice. Pretty good one who beat her, too, in Just My Heels.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not knocking her, but I think I think it's fair off her prior race to ask the question if she's as effective as she has to sit off. And with the present of 4, 6, and 7, I don't think she wants any part of going to lead in this race.
Well, there's Tom Amos's Badia. Third off the bench.
That was good.
Thank you.
Can you do that again?
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Ooh. Big Earth, Wind, and Fire fan?
Love them.
They're amazing.
What do you think?
I think she's dangerous in this race. I think she sort of naturally falls into a good trip. And even though she doesn't feel like she's that forward in a race like this, it's going to be because they're probably moving too fast up front. So I think that helps her. But I also think that Claret Beret on the outside is dangerous as well, as she'll try to win back-to-back races. Wow. Okay there.
Call to post. And here they come. So 10 minutes away from this ninth. 9-5 favorite. Miss Sobrides as we send it back to Hot Springs.
Great job with Body, Greg. 6-1 here. Indeed, Earth, Wind, and Fire fans, that is your filly. We'll meet the field here. We'll hear from Kenny McPeak, has the favorite, Miss Hebrides. He's ready to shove you over the rail, Meg. I've had about just enough of you this afternoon.
Getting pushed around over here.
Miss Hebrides here at 95. Yeah, they're right. The pace, like on paper anyhow, lots of speed in this mile and a 16th affair.
Yeah, I mean, and particularly the 4, Normandy Queen, coming out of Southern California, and her best races were when she went to the lead and went fast on the lead as well. And especially being fresh, you know, she had that 1 6.5 furlong race and comes in here. She should be pretty quick.
Quick exchange with Tom Amos this morning. Sounded very confident with Body. Said her last race was better than it looks. Said she galloped out very strong. Loves the post and that she'll be saving ground inside throughout.
Well, she'll get to save ground. And my contention is a horse has to be so much the best to lose ground on 2 turns. She gets to save all the ground early.
There she is, and dirt races is solid when she's not mixing it up with Thorpedo Anna.
No, 6 starts on the dirt with 2 wins a second and 2/3.
Flashy Lass overmatched in the Houston Ladies Classic. Then the favorite, Miss Hebrides, Kenny McPeak, has her going well.
Yeah, she has speed, but she doesn't need the lead, and she made that bold middle move last time, and I think that cost her more than having to come from off the pace.
Normandy Queen, she's quick.
Should be quick, should be fresh, making a nice impression physically, and Ron Marquette having a terrific meet.
Wildwood by Pictured, Florida-bred 6-year-old debut.
Yeah, it would be a surprise here.
Absinthe, more speed, 5-year-old mare.
More speed, very game last time. Nice effort. That was her best race to date.
Pretty Layla, she's quick, wire-to-wire winner in the slop last month.
Yeah, and this filly has sprint speed as well, and you get Tyler Bacon, who I said loves to have horses run up into his hands.
Insensitive, 13-1, Christian Torres leading rider.
Yeah, comes out of the bugler, sprinting, stretches back out, will get pace to run at.
Claret Beret on the outside, she's won 3 of 4, just better on dirt.
Better on dirt, and should sit a very good stalking trip as long as she can avoid getting caught too wide into that first turn.
Friday feature is next. 7 minutes. Miss Hebrides 9-5, trained by Kenny McPeak, standing by live with Maggie.
That's right, Lafitte, and please be joined by Kenny. Of course, we'll talk about Thorpedo Anna in a moment, but let's talk about your favorite here, as she seems to be in really good form, Kenny. Talk a little bit about her development. I mean, I feel like it was just yesterday she was winning up in Saratoga, breaking her maiden.
So you want me to tell you the truth, right?
Don't you always?
I do. So as a 2-year-old, this filly was bleeding. And we were really having trouble with her. She was a filly that had gone through a lung infection, and it was one of those things where, you know, wow, what do you do? And we did what was right. We gave her a lot of time. And she was a filly that, if you look at her, she's out of a curling mare, and she looks all curling, which I've always been fond of. But the time really helped, and we had a few races where mentally she really hadn't figured it out. She went a little too fast early, a few races. You know, she ran well in Saratoga last summer, but down here she's done fantastic. And if you can get her to rate herself, and she seems to be rating a little bit better. Looks like the 6 horse is going to show a little speed in here. We'll let Julian decide where he wants to be, but you know, just a lovely mare, and she seems to be improving.
How do you do it? How do you find these horses that, I mean, she's made double what you paid for. She's probably on the higher end of what you often spend. Is there some sort of formula that you come up with finding these deals with these young horses?
Well, I believe when you look at a horse's pedigree and their body, and there's a match, and there's a pattern there. But if you look at her, I mean, she's physically all curling. And I think he is going to be a great broodmare sire, and I think he already is. And he's out of a deputy minister mare himself. And of course, I was responsible for buying him as a yearling. But, you know, look, you go to these horse sales, and I think there's a certain art to it. I enjoy the challenge of it. I didn't always have a big budget. Al Riccio, Al, I know you're out there watching. He's one of our partners on this filly, or the main partner. She runs in his silks every time. But guys like him trust my judgment, and look, you're going to fail a lot more than you succeed, but filly like this has been worth the time, and Al's been extremely patient, and we're optimistic here.
And Kenny talked about Curlin a lot because Kenny actually bought Curlin. And for those who didn't know, originally,
I didn't get to train him, unfortunately. But that's fine. Look, I'm still very proud of all he's accomplished and his influence on the pedigrees, and he's in there, and it's cool.
Thorpedo Anna, the Grizzly, she returns tomorrow. Now, we think about a filly like Rachel Alexandra. Now, she had to dig deep, when she won that Woodward. So you often, think about it in retrospect that it probably took everything out of her. Thorpedo Anna, though, yeah, she had to dig deep, even in defeat in the Travers, but she rebounded with 2 brilliant Grade 1 wins. What are we looking for tomorrow?
I think from the inside draw, he's going to have to let her run early. We'll leave that up to Brian. She's just ultra talented. I mean, there is speed in that race across the board, and it looks like that's going to be a little tricky. But class rules, and I think she'll show it tomorrow.
As far as her preparations, you kind of followed the same recipe when you brought her back for the Fantasy last year, training down at Fairgrounds. She looked great for her leg stretch around this oval this morning. What has she shown you? Anything different, or is it still the same old Thorpedo Anna?
Steady as it goes. I mean, there's nothing complicated about her. I've said before, I think every horse trainer in America would love to have a filly like her. I encourage them all to go to the horse sales because you just never know when you're going to draw a good one. And she just does things easy. She makes it easy. There isn't anything complicated about her. We keep her routine simple. She likes her routine simple. She likes to eat at the same time. She likes to train at the same time. And, this is something that just a real honor to be around.
Yeah, it's a real honor to get to watch her. Thank you for bringing her back. Best of luck tomorrow and here.
Yeah, thanks.
Kenny McPeak looking for a big one here, but that's just the tip of the iceberg, Lafitte.
Thorpedo Anna, $40,000 purchase. Swiss Skydiver, the filly who beat the boys in the Preakness, like a $35,000 purchase. If you're newer to the sport, this is the equivalent of finding a Tom Brady in the 6th round.
Yeah, I mean, he's done it consistently over the years. And think about winning the Belmont with Sarava. He paid
70-1, biggest upset in Belmont history.
Price. Yeah. I mean, Kenny has made a career of this. He now finds himself on the Hall of Fame ballot. Only one of 4 people to ever win the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby in the same year.
Incredible. And Oaks that really eluded him. He had been close. 3 second-place finishes before finally getting the Oaks. His first Derby starter ever. Tejano Run, second to Thunder Gulch, all the way back in '95. Finally, a first Kentucky Derby. Finally, a first Breeders' Cup victory. Arguably the best trainer that had never won a Breeders' Cup event. Knocks that down with Thorpedo Anna. Just a fantasy season for McPeak in 2024.
Was a fantasy season, but he's done this kind of stuff consistently, and he's not afraid to take on challenges, right? Winning the Preakness with a filly. He has really built a Hall of Fame resume, very deserving to be on that ballot, and as far as I'm concerned, should be in.
Thorpedo Anna tomorrow in the Azeri here. Maggie standing by. Great stuff with Kenny as we look at Normandy Queen. Maggie, part of this hot pace that we're anticipating in this 9th race featured at Oaklawn.
Yeah, but she looks as though she could be the speed of the speed in here, Lafitte, as she, watching her last dirt start, which came back in September at Del Mar, she really hits the ground running. And oftentimes California speed, it's usually the fastest that we have in the country, no matter where these horses end up. Now, Ron Moquette will take over training with her, so we'll see if that changes anything up. But I think coming out of a down-the-hill turf sprint at Santa Anita only sets her up to have that speed now stretching back out here on the dirt. She looks great. She's a nicely put together filly that does have a bit of scope to her frame, so I think this is the right type of condition for her. I think, though, the race could set up nicely for Claret Beret, whom Greg Conkton picked up, and I think it was an exceptional claim because at the end of the day, this filly was bred to be quite nice. And it seems as though she spent the first part of her career running on the wrong surface. And now looking at her, she's 4 for 5 on the dirt. And she gets to try it again here. And she looks great for Greg Compton. I think she sits the right kind of trip. I'm going to take Claret Beret, taking the next step up the ladder.
Yeah, just better on dirt, and with the way, if things unfold the way they look on paper, things that should be set up nicely for.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of upside there, and at 4-1, this is a filly that could take a step forward. Key to her race is getting into that first turn in good shape. You know, she's not slow, and she's not fast enough, obviously, with the speed in here. She needs to find that gap in between flights and slide in and save some ground into that first turn.
Miss Hebrides, key to success for her today, the 7-5 favorite for Kenny McPeak.
I think just settling, getting her position going forward, but then settling off of what we perceive should be a more than ample pace, and maybe a little bit more, you know, this is interesting to say about a Julien Leparoux ride, a little bit more patient this time.
The favorite, 7-5, Miss Hebrides. It is post time. Friday feature live from Oaklawn. Here's Matt Dinnerman.
Insensitive has gone in, one back, Claret Beret to the outside. We're ready to go. And they're off. Pretty Layla blasts out of post 7 and goes right to the lead from Miss Hebrides, who takes a hold second. Normandy Queen third in the early stages. Absinthe off the pace today, floated a little bit wide, tucking over now as they go into the first turn. Claret Beret in the pink jacket. She's running between horses. Body Eye inside. Gap of 2 to Flashy Last. Wildwood Bye right behind her. And Insensitive is at the rear of the field. Around the clubhouse turn, Pretty Layla, Tyler Bacon on the lead, about a half length. Normandy Queen pressing a bit from the outside, now second. And Miss Hebrides gets the Garden Trip in third, racing alone, now 3/4 of a length ahead of Absinthe and Claret Beret. Badia, 3 lengths off the lead in the blue and white. Another 2.5 to Flashy Lass, 1.5 lengths more to Wildwood Bye, and 4 back to Insensitive, who can still see them all as they head down the backstretch. Good tempo here on the lead set by Pretty Layla. 3/4 of a length ahead still. Normandy Queen pressing from the outside. Miss Hebrides right there in third, down on the inside on a snug hold. Claret Beret is between horses and a 3-deep. Absinthe around the turn. Badia's come under a hard ride. Then comes Flashy Lass trying to get into the race now. Flashy Lass claiming 5th. She's getting outside of horses around the far turn. She's producing a bid. Wildwood Bye gets a tap on the shoulder to get going, but is not picking up the pace. Insensitive trying to pass the whole field as they come to the top of the lane. Pretty Layla drops anchor. Normandy Queen finds herself in front. Claret Beret is battling here. Miss Hebrides coming up the inside with a strong challenge now. Here comes Miss Hebrides and Julien Leparoux after Normandy Queen. Miss Hebrides has all the momentum coming to the 16th pole, and she takes the lead from Normandy Queen. Miss Hebrides a half length in front. Miss Hebrides gets it done. Normandy Queen was second. Badia rallies for third on the outside. Pretty Layla was 4th.
That the ride you were looking for, Richie?
Yeah, I mean, it looked like he could be in a dicey situation a little bit going around the far turn, but he, you know, as usual, patient, found his gap. And watch her when she hits the front. Watch her ears, Lafitte. She kind of flicks her ears up, and basically, I've done all I'm supposed to do. You could see right here, even before she actually hit the front, and that really lends credence to what I thought last time when she opened up a commanding lead. She kind of pulled herself up a little bit. This was a game effort from Normandy Queen, but I think it was also a little bit of a function of Miss Hebrides kind of putting her toes in the ground just a touch when she hit the front.
Gonna be a productive race, as well as Normandy Queen ran in that second place finish. And for Tom Ames, Badia closing fastest of all to complete the trifecta, 3-4-1-7.
Yeah, listen, Tom comes to play. He doesn't bring horses to Oaklawn or ship around. He's one of the most accomplished trainers in the history of the game at a high percentage. Then you saw there with the 4, Normandy Queen. Actually, Ricardo Santana actually lost his right rein there for about 4 or 5 strides trying to pick her head up. And I don't believe it cost her anything, but as a professional rider, you're just like, that's a little embarrassing.
And for Kenny McPeak, exactly how you want to get things started with everything taking place tomorrow and the big filly returning to the races.
Yeah, you want to get off on the right foot, right? You want confidence going into the big day that things can go your way, and obviously that was a perfect ride, perfect trip from Julien Leparoux. He is so cool. I mean, he'll sit in there longer than I would. I know that.
A 3-4-1-7 unofficial order of finish, 8-5 at post time. What felt like a very competitive race going in. The wagering public locked in, unloaded, and so did she in the feature. At Oaklawn Park, results when we come back, 9 down, 1 left on the eve of the return of the Horse of the Year.
And they're off in the Naira Benz Haskell.
In the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga.
Dornock setting up moderate pace, 3/4 of a length ahead.
As the field turns for home.
They're at it again. The two Belmont first and second place finishers.
Mind frame on the outside. It's coming after Dornock.
Dornock wins the Haskell.
It will be Dornock to win the Belmont Stake.
Kenny McPeak has her going very well. 2 of her last 3 and a sharp performance in this Friday feature at Oaklawn Park.
Yeah, and she really rated this time. I mean, sat in that pocket, sat there, always traveled like a winner. The space presented itself, but she went on through there. Nice try by Normandy Queen and Bada.
It's not an Earth, Wind, and Fire fan. Not an Earth, Wind, and Fire fan. I'm really, really disappointed. Maggie standing by with winning pilot, Julia Leperoux.
Yeah, it shows, Meg. That's okay, though. As Julian guiding Ms. Hebrides to victory, and you've been on her for 6 starts now. I asked Kenny this before she ran in this race, how has she developed? Because it almost feels like she's really learning something each and every time she steps foot on the racetrack.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we loved her back in Saratoga last year, but I think mentally that's where it comes from. You know, like she gets so much better. As long as you get her to a good rhythm and she finished up at the end, you know. She's a very tough filly in the morning, so in the afternoon too. So I try to just be, you know, as square as I can on her, and she finished up very nicely today. Yeah.
You got her to be patient. How difficult was that sitting in that pocket for so long?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I like the two fillies that was in front of me. I like them before the race, but I was praying that he opened for sure. Yeah, I had a ton of horse, and when Ricardo made the move, I followed him, following him in the straight, and he came out. I got through inside, but she was good. Yeah.
Well done. You guys make a great team. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
All right, Julien Leperoux, really getting along well with Miss Hebrides. Guys.
Productive team indeed. Onward and upward. That has to take so much patience. How hard is that when you have a lock on the targets in front of you and you're sitting with just a handful of racehorse dying to be cut loose, and you know it's not quite the right time just yet?
Yeah, you've got to resist that temptation to pull that trigger a little too soon when the opportunity presents itself. But what he just said was key, that he liked the two horses in front of him, meaning that they were going to carry him. They were live cover. They were horses that he didn't anticipate stopping in his face. And you could see as he came off the quarter pole, he gave himself two options. He set himself up that if the filly on the lead didn't drift, Normandy Queen, he could switch outside of her. When she did drift, well, now I can go inside of her. That's what your best riders do. They give themselves multiple options.
All worked out today with 9 down and 1 left on this Friday program at Oaklawn Park. To close the show, Arkansas bred maidens, $50,000 claiming sprint 6 furlongs. Castle Gap is out wide open right now. Hey Mister, the tepid 3-1 favorite from a morning line of 15-1. Richie, who did you see graduating?
Oh, these races are just so easy to handicap.
It's a nice, easy race to close out the show.
Big field of Arkansas-bred maiden claimers. Something I haven't quite mastered yet. Obviously, you always have to respect anything that Ron Moquette puts on the racetrack, time and beyond. Will the 12th time, the doesn't start, be the key with that inside post? Has to work out a trip, but that was the one that really caught my attention.
More difficult for the handicapper at home, these Arkansas-bred maiden fairs or Kentucky Derby, as we continue to get closer and closer to the first Saturday in May, and the leaderboard looks like this. Richard Migliore, let's put you on the spot. If you could ride one, choose any one of these 3-year-olds to ride in the Derby, who would it be?
Well, if I could ride one, I would pick Journalism. But I have a great deal of respect for the horse on the top of the point leaderboard in Cole Battle. Admittedly, needs to run a bit faster than what we've seen so far, but he keeps winning. And he just finds ways to get it done. He's gone to the lead in one. He's come from off the pace in one. He's taken his show on the road, so he chose he can ship and travel, and he doesn't need a particular kind of racetrack. He's not a very big horse, but he's an extremely well-balanced, athletic individual. And where did you hear this before, Lafitte? When the little guy doesn't know he's a little guy, he can accomplish great big things. That's exactly what Cole Battle is all about. What a story with Lonnie Briley, who Maggie spoke with earlier today, putting away Madacat Road. Madacat Road probably going to cut back in distance. 5 for 5 on dirt, as impressive as it was visually. Did you feel like some of the air was let out of the balloon, or did you not care when the Beyer speed figure came back a little bit light? No, I honestly didn't care. I mean, Beyer speed figures, obviously a super useful tool, certainly revolutionized the way people handicap and look at races. But it's just one barometer of horses, and it doesn't tell the whole story. And when a horse has a winning habit and continues to get better, and he has a horseman like Lonnie Briley in his corner who is listening to all the cues that the horse has given him, you know he's going to bring him to the Derby in the best possible shape possible. And I like a horse that finds ways to win. He's tough, and he doesn't need a trip.
And that's part of the equation, Maggie. With Cole Battle and Lonnie Briley, the decision, to race in the Arkansas Derby or to train up to the Kentucky Derby, as you discussed with him earlier today.
Right, exactly. And I love that. He's an old school horseman that isn't trying to, fit a horse into a program. The horse has created his own program for Lonnie, and he just listens to him. And I think what Mig also said about Cole Battle is essential. He's a horse that is versatile. He doesn't need the lead, though he can obviously win with it like he did in the Smarty Jones, or he can close like we saw him doing in the Springboard Mile and as well in the Rebel, in which that day I thought speed was pretty darn good. So the fact that he was able to close, I think, was another feather in his cap. But let's talk about another horse that ran very well last weekend, and that was Sovereignty, coming back for Bill Mott in the Fountain of Youth, and another horse that likes to close from off of it. Now he, showed promise early on in his career, a horse that we've gotten to watch and are, fairly familiar with on the NYRA circuit. And the thing is there was a bunch of talk about this horse not being that good because he doesn't work that well. He was outworked by a horse that got beat, a maiden, but yet he kind of knows when the money is on the line. He knows when to show up, and that's in the afternoon. I really like how he leveled off. He really hit his best strides late, indicating to me that he's a horse that I think will be successful at these classic distances. Also running quite fast. When you talk about Beyer speed figures, he did run relatively fast in that race. So what I thought was interesting too, since the evolution of the Kentucky Derby, and now that we use the point system, it kind of eliminated, going back several years, those really fast paces when you just got in on earnings, when you had sprinters that ensured those fast paces. So then with the point system, we more or less saw horses dominating towards the front end. But in the last 4 of the 5 last Kentucky Derbies, horses have been able to close. So I thought that was interesting, given Cole Battle style, given Sovereignty style. Guys?
No Spanish chestnuts and Trinibergs in the Derby mix any longer.
Yeah, I mean, we've done away with having those sprinter types set that ridiculously fast pace. But to be fair, the Kentucky Derby is still usually run at too fast a pace for the distance. 1.25 miles, 20-horse field. It lends itself to riders really hustling to get their position, and they're going to go a little quicker than they probably should for the 10 furlongs.
Greg and Andy, 2 3-year-olds where the speed figures are of no concern. The top 2 finishers in the San Felipe last week out west.
I mean, there's one horse who's separated himself, and he's become the top contender now on the road to the Derby with what he did the other week.
I would almost argue 2 horses did. Because imagine the race if journalism wasn't in there, we'd be talking about Barnes as a legitimate favorite. And I want to say one of the reasons that speed has done so well in the Kentucky Derby is that white-haired guy that wins it a lot, his horses usually have speed.
Yeah.
And I don't think that is just, it's not mutually exclusive. Speed kills. Speed's great in dirt racing. Listen, this was an excellent horse race. And this was, especially with the winner of the Risen Star, going on the shelf so quickly after his blowout performance. This, at this point, is a prep that stands out above all others. And we've seen some pretty good performances, but this was something.
108 Beyer in victory, and a horse by the older horse who might be the best. Maybe he's the best horse in the country right now.
He's one of them.
Ran a 109 Beyer.
The one best, maybe the best one running?
On the same track just after that.
No, this is the Derby favorite, journalism. Now, listen, those things can change. The Santa Anita Derby, see what happens. But he is the Derby favorite. And you know what? I'm not sure Barnes is the second choice at this point. And I wasn't Barnes' biggest fan, and after the race, I thought it exposed him as his distance limitations. But once you see the figures and realize he ran a 105 Beyer in defeat, I think you have to imagine the race. If journalism isn't in there and he wins by 9 lengths and runs a 105 Beyer, he'd be hailing as the second coming of Hindu. And not to use that expression twice on one show. I know Richie said it first. It's an old-timer expansion. We're old. He's one of the horses to beat going to the Derby. These are good horses, and for those people that think I have an East Coast bias, you're out of your minds. The 2 best horses we've seen so far, based on that race, are Journalism and Barnes.
Yeah, that was that prep stands alone, really, with what those 2 did. So it'll be exciting to see what they do in that, you would think, last and final prep Santa Anita Derby.
Especially with the winner of the Risen Star being on the shelf. They are the 2 you want. And knowing that journalism can be forward, but he doesn't need the lead to run that race, he is the favorite right now, win, lose, or draw right now.
100-point races. They start fairly soon, March 22nd. Louisiana Derby will kick off those big points races, Jeff Ruby Stakes, Arkansas Derby, Florida Derby, and then, of course, we get into April, and we'll be talking about the Wood Memorial here in New York. We're going to take a timeout. Do you want to add something?
No, I was going to say there's kind of a neat horse coming back who beat Sovereignty when he broke his maiden. Prater, that's coming back on Sunday at Gulfstream, and he's a horse that could head to the Wood with a good race.
Mike Maker already with a win on the card today at Oakland. Have Ricardo Santana Jr. on this one. Miracle Mac dropping in class after facing a couple tougher fields the last 2 tries. Stay with us.
Enhance your handicapping with AI Fast Facts, exclusively on NyraBets. Open your NyraBets app, click View Runner Details, and a stat-driven fact will appear for all U.S. thoroughbred racehorses. Download the NyraBets app to start using Fast Facts today.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
At the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance, we believe in giving every thoroughbred a second chance.
And thanks to you, the owners, trainers, breeders, and every supporter, you've created a ripple effect of change that's helping these magnificent animals move on to new careers and safe, fulfilling lives after racing.
Every single donation, whether big or small, is contributing to a brighter future.
But this race is just beginning. Because of you, we have gained incredible momentum, and we're ready for more.
These New York bred foals represent many sires: War Dancer, Salamini, Honest Mischief, Central Banker. But they all have one thing in common. Starting in 2026, they'll be running for the same purse money as Open Company 2-year-olds at Nyra Tracks. That's nearly 20% more than they run for now. Learn more about it at nybreds.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Most horses retire at 4, 5, 6 years old, but they can live to be 30. Every state that races needs an aftercare foundation. It was all started by Bill Walmsley, so we got together, got with Jennifer Hoyt, we got a website, we got a Facebook page, and we could rehabilitate and retire the thoroughbreds that have raced at Oaklawn.
We started off very slow. I think we maybe had 6 horses the first year we were in the program. Overall, we've probably retired and rehomed over 50 horses. We do ask that every owner that donates a horse into the program donate the horse with $1,000. That just helps care for the horse for the first month or so that we have the horse in our care. Every year we do get some good funding, but it's amazing how quickly that goes during the summer and fall when we're taking care of about 25 to 30 horses. At the end of the 22 race meet, we implemented the Ring the Bell program. Ron Moquette brought it to us. He provided the bell. And so that April, that last month of that race meet, we gave owners the opportunity to ring the bell every time they won a race. And we raised almost $9,000 in just that month. It's now something that they look forward to doing. It's a sense of pride. I'm gonna ring the bell today because that means they won a race. 2 years ago, the HBPA installed an equicizer at Oaklawn, and that's been a huge fundraiser. Trainers pay $10 per horse every time they put it on that equicize wheel, and all that money comes to our program. Each horse has its own adoption fee. We usually set that based on what the horse will be doing in his second career. It ranges from between $500 and $1,500.
These horses have such a great purpose. They want to do something. They want to be a little girl's horse. They want to be ridden. They want to trail ride. They want to event. They want to be a hunter jumper. They want to do something else. And it gives them an opportunity to live a long, prosperous, wonderful life outside the racetrack. But we need that resource everywhere so a person can responsibly retire their horse and have it taken care of.
And there it is. It seems as though after every race here at Oaklawn, almost that we hear the ringing of the bell, the contributions, the participation. And you were just telling me off camera, Richie, that horses, how they really love having a job, having a purpose.
Vast majority of horses like to have a job. They like to have a purpose. They don't idle well. A lot of horses you'll see, they'll get turned out, they walk the fence line, they get bored. They like to have an outlet for their physical energy, but also for their mind, to keep their mind working. And racehorses, thoroughbreds I should say, are just so game. They'll do any discipline if you show it to them. They're so smart, they'll pick it up. And it's incumbent upon all of us that derive our living from these amazing animals to give back and make sure each one of them has a dignified, safe retirement.
And the fact that it's become such an important part of the narrative in this sport, where I don't know that 10, 15, 20 years ago we heard that much about Thoroughbred Aftercare, and now just such an emphasis on these athletes once they've retired from their racing career.
And past time. I mean, and it's a great movement. It's the way it should be. We're going in the right direction. What they do here at Oaklawn with this bell is phenomenal, and everybody's happy. You just want to race. Yeah, let's give back right now. We already have a bell in Saratoga, right? to call the horses to get
17 minutes, something like that.
We need a bell for thoroughbred retirement at Aqueduct, Belmont, and Saratoga.
Loud enough at Saratoga. Post-parade race 10, the nightcap Arkansas bred maidens, Time and Beyond, the morning line favorite, up there at 5-2, followed by Big Country Boy, 13-1 outsider.
Yeah, but does have speed, so he's going to be involved early. He'll have a say in how this race is run.
God's Country Overlay, he's improving.
He's improving, and he's a closing type, so if things really heat up on the front end, he's a horse to kind of look over your shoulder for.
Conway, Southern Springs Stable, debuting colt.
First-time starter with a little bit of a light work tab coming into this, making a nice physical impression, though.
Castle Gap out. Hey, Mr. In. Look out, says Richie.
This is a horse with a comprehensive work tab. Look at how long this horse has been in training, and he's taking money. Very interesting, the 6 Hey, Mr.
Miracle Mac, Ricardo Santana seeking a third on the afternoon. Piercy Road, the 15-race maiden.
Yeah, a lot of chances, and it would be a bit of a surprise, but does have some races that would be competitive.
Golden City Street, another fresh face.
Yeah, but when we talk about first-time starters, this one not taking any money, and that kind of indicates that not training in a way that got everybody's attention.
Get the Boss, not much in his debut.
No, would have to improve vastly off of that effort.
And finally, Speaking Loud would be a shock.
Would be a shock, but gets the most significant equipment change, returns as a gelding.
Now a gelding. We'll see if it makes a difference in his 15th career start. Look at that shot. Overhead view. Oaklawn Park. 5 minutes out to this nightcap, and the excitement to be a racing fan. The excitement to be a racing fan in Hot Springs, specifically tomorrow, with the return of the horse of the year, in case we hadn't mentioned it during the broadcast, Thorpedo Anna in tomorrow's Azeri.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. Listen, I've been blessed over my career, and Rafael Bejarano is having an extremely hard time here with the one Time and Beyond. Right about now, you're looking for an outrider to assist you. You could see him using all of his body weight to try to gain control of Time and Beyond. And, you know, at some point, you just run out of energy trying to contain a 1,000-pound animal. He's got him now, but now it's a long jog back towards the starting gate. Rafael Bejarano is probably going to be more tired than this horse.
No, well, Junior Alvarado would be saying, curls, man. Curls, and you wouldn't have that problem. More curls. And after that, more curls.
And more cowbell as well.
We check in with Maggie.
Okay, Will Ferrell over there. Yes, Time and Beyond, pretty aggressive in the warm-up. So the problem I have with this horse, right, is the chances are adding up. But he always looks sensational. He's always the best-looking horse in the field. So he always kind of lures me in. But what about him is supposed to make you feel that confident? Yes, he has, you know, only been in this type of condition 2 other times, and he was the beaten favorite. I don't know. Is today the day as a 5-year-old that now he's, you know, magic number 12, start 12, he's going to get the job done? Maybe. But, and like I said, he always looks fantastic, but that record does not inspire me in the least. As we'll take a look at number 7, Miracle Mac. He's the one with the lesser amount of chances, actually just 3 to be exact. And while he did debut for the maiden 25, he's never run for a maiden claimer for current trainer Mike Maker. looks incredibly fit here. Third off of the layoff, moving really well out there. I think he's a more attractive proposition in here, and so therefore that's who I'm going to land on as they battle for favoritism. Ron Moquette, though, will send out another in here, a first-time starter by Petrov, a sire he is very well familiar with, obviously this trainer of him as well. Conway, really nicely put together horse, has been really professional overall, though I don't know that the proverbial light bulb's kind of on. He's just kind of like, oh, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but lacks a little bit of intensity, at least so far in the observations when it comes to them on the racetrack. Probably 90% fit. Just a little soft around the edges, will likely benefit from this start. But again, live horse on the board, goes out for live connections and has made a lovely impression. Lafitte?
Looks like his sire, or father Petrov, on the Derby trail in his day. Will it be Hey Mister's day, Richie's top selection in this 10th and final?
I like when first-time starters come in with a real solid, comprehensive work tab. This horse checks those boxes. He also is taking money, and that's significant. That means that this horse has kind of tipped his hand in the morning trials in practice, that he has ability. Now, obviously, he's in a big field. A lot of things can happen with a first-time starter, that they don't break particularly well. But at least this gives me confidence that he has shown that he can run a bit. And 9-2 is not insignificant money in a big field.
We have a moment, maybe viewers just joining and looking ahead to tomorrow's activity, some of the highlights. Of course, it feels like Thorpedo Anna all the time in the return, the horse of the year, but key Kentucky Derby prep at Tampa Bay Downs, Tampa signature day of racing, the Tampa Bay Derby, and Chancer McPatrick, welcome back to racing.
Well, Chancer McPatrick was so impressive in his races in New York, and the Hopeful, the Champagne. Now, he did not run at all on Breeders' Cup Day, and it was his first try around 2 turns, and maybe it was that, or maybe it was some other reason. I'm not ready to write him off. I saw a young horse that would take kickback, overcome adversity, and finish. And when he won the Hopeful, he made a long, sustained run. And that, to me, points out that he'll stay a little bit more. He still has to do it around 2 turns, but that's why I'm really interested about the Tampa Bay Derby. I'm really curious to see how Chancer McPatrick comes back as a 3-year-old.
His 3-year-old debut, Thorpedo Anna. It'll be her 4-year-old debut in the America's Best Racing's race of the week. The 39th running of the Grade 2 Azeri, final local prep for the Apple Blossom. Oaklawn's most prestigious race for fillies and mares. 7 strong. One name jumps off the screen in Thorpedo Anna. 2-5 drawn inside, just like she was in the Travers. The odds-on favorite, and rightfully so. The filly with the sensational campaign, the 3-year-old champion filly, and yes, reigning horse of the year.
Yeah, and you see here, Robbie Alvarado, former jockey on board, was talking with Robbie earlier, asking him how did he think she would come back, from 3 to 4. It was her exercise rider last year, her exercise rider this year. He says she feels great. If anything, a little more relaxed this year. And, when she first got back into training, a little over-enthusiastic, but has settled in nicely, so maybe mentally more mature. He even said it. You can't really go out on a limb and say you think she'll be better this year, because it's a pretty tough act to follow,
She set the bar very, very high. The 5 Grade 1 victories, nearly becoming the first filly to win a Travers in like 1,000 years. You see some of the highlights. You're Brian Hernandez. You get a leg up. What is the first thing you would be looking for in the saddle?
But just to see how she's handling everything, the atmosphere, the intensity of the race. Now, he knows her so well, and last year she did get quite upset before she went on and won her 3-year-old debut, so it's not that might be a negative, but you wanted to get her to settle in. You wanted her to use her energy efficiently, and then from post 1, you just don't want, you want to try to avoid, and it's not easier said than done, getting put in a position where you don't have the ability to let her use her stride.
What a team. McPeak, Hernandez, Anna, back at it tomorrow. The Azeri, you'll see it right here on Fox Sports 2. Post time for the 10th and final, up to Matt Dinnerman with a call.
Get the Boss. Rather, there's 3 back behind the gate. Didn't see one of them. Well, behind there as Conway has gone in with Get the Boss. Hey, Mister, second to last. And to the outside post, Speaking Loud to round out the field. Here's Speaking Loud. Eduardo Gallardo to the outside. We're ready to go in the finale. Packing away one of the horses here, Big Country Boy from post position 2. Remember, tomorrow, Thorpedo Anna, the horse of the year of last year, races in the Azeri. That's race 10 on an 11-race card tomorrow. Don't want to miss that. Looks like we're all ready. And Larough in the finale. Big Country Boy broke very sharply today. In fact, he's on the lead with Conway, who has some natural speed today in the career debut. Golden City Street is parked 3 deep, Speaking Loud on the far outside. Time and Beyond right off the quartet, who line up on the lead here. Miracle Mac right behind them. He's 3 lengths off the pace in the lime green. Gap of another 3 to Get the Boss, who's already sent along, approaching the far turn run. Hey Mister, the first-time starter outside of him. God's Country is second to last. And Percy Road well behind as they go into the far turn. Big Country Boy in tight while weakening on the rail. Estes steady and gives way completely here. Speaking Loud and Eduardo Gallardo find themselves on the lead, but the Ron Moquet entrants are coming after him now. On the outside, Time and Beyond makes up some ground. He's all the way to challenge the front runner at the top of the lane. Conway under pressure in third while hugging the rail. And then Miracle Mac as they come down the lane. Speaking Loud with Time and Beyond. Time and Beyond going to the front now. Speaking Loud to the inside, retreats to second. Far outside, God's Country picking off foes late, but Time and Beyond's too far in front for anybody to catch him. He's opening up. 4 lengths coming to the finish. Time and Beyond to score in the nightcap. God's Country was second. Speaking Loud third. Miracle Mac fourth.
Kind of a power struggle pre-race between Rafael Bejarano and Time and Beyond, but working together very well when it mattered most. Time and Beyond graduates in his 12th career start, 7-5 at post time.
Yeah, won by open lengths, about 4 or 5 lengths, and Rafael Bejarano earned his money not in the race, in the post parade.
Yeah, he did.
That's where he earned his money.
Highlight of the day for you?
It would have to be Miss Sobriety's winning the way she won the feature, like the patient tack they took.
Could see more of the same tomorrow evening for trainer Kenny McPeak, the win in the feature today. Miss Sobriety's entering the winner's circle with Julian Leperoux. Tomorrow, McPeak, there, screen left, white cap. Yeah, he's bringing the horse of the year back. Thorpedo Anna, her 4-year-old debut. What will she do in the Azeri? Ryan Hernandez out west in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. Will we see more of that same celebration post Azeri? Find out right here, America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. We'll see you then.